eager to prove that they're ready for that super regional and then NCAA tournament appearance.
We've got 3 top 10 ranked teams in this tournament. You'll see one of them in this game in Tampa, and you'll see Lee in the next game, and then finally the number 1 team in the nation later on this evening around 7 p.m., the University of West Florida. Since 2004, 10 national champions, Garrett, have come out of this South region. So you can really say that ultimately it seems like the national champions tend to come out of the South region.
Yeah, very competitive here in the South region, which is what you would expect. Players develop well in the South. They come to the South from usually northern destinations originally because you can play the baseball January, February, as the weather would allow.
We oftentimes forget after the lengthy layoff due to COVID-19 last season, but this Tampa team coming in, the reigning national champions at the Division II level, they'll look for another good series here. The starting lineups are finished. National anthem playing here at Jim Spooner Field. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be back to introduce the teams and the starting pitchers next. As we come back here inside Jim Spooner Field, a rousing rendition of the national anthem as we get set to kick off this 2021 NCAA South Region Tournament. Here the umpires making their way onto the field. It's a 4-man crew today. Here for this game, you'll have Bobby Dunnigan behind the plate, Kevin Spivey at first base, Trevor Hinson at second, and Kevin Smith at third. Garrett, most of the year you see these 2 umpire crews out here in the region tournaments. You'll see 3, but ultimately as you advance farther along, you get more umpires, and so hopefully they're able to see more out there and ultimately make it a little bit easier on each other.
Right. You would definitely think the pressure for the umpires would be increased here at the regional level, but then you have a little bit maybe less responsibility at the same time, so a little bit easier on them, even though the pressure maybe goes up a little bit. So we'll look to see here early on what the zone is like for the home plate umpire, and certainly the pitchers and the hitters trying to figure that out early on to benefit them throughout the game.
Garrett, one of the first games you and me did together this year was back in February, and it was in the 40s out here. We were out underneath the tent. But today, it feels like 90 degrees, humidity at 60%. 84 is what the temperature says, but a beautiful day here for baseball. And after what we dealt with early on in the season, a welcomed reprieve here in Florida.
Yeah, Florida should be the sunshine state, and we've certainly got the heat to match that today. I don't see a rosin bag out there on the mound, so I'll be interested to see if either pitcher brings that out with them or something, because you're definitely going to be experiencing that sweatiness on the mound today, and it'll be interesting to see how the pitchers, if they choose to deal with that in some way.
Rodney Batts and head coach Joe Urso meeting to talk with the home plate umpires, exchanging lineups as we get set for baseball here in just a moment. These 2 teams, as we mentioned, well accustomed to playing in South Region tournaments, combining for 69 between the 2 programs, 35 for Tampa and 34 for Delta State. Should be a fun game here today. This game, a rematch, Garrett, of that Super Regional from 2019 a regional, a super regional that Tampa would go on to win before ultimately winning a couple games at the national tournament and being crowned national champions. So definitely accustomed to playing in games like this.
Well, it's been a couple years, obviously, for the guys. They're on a little bit of a reduced schedule this year, so we'll see how that affects them coming in, but they've certainly got the history with some of the juniors and seniors on the team that they can express to those maybe underclassmen in terms of what this means, how best to prepare for this, and we'll see these teams hopefully come out firing here. Certainly the pitchers firing. We're looking forward to a good matchup in that regard today as well.
Tampa, perhaps one of the toughest teams to judge in this tournament after playing just 20 games this season. There was COVID difficulties throughout the entire year in terms of games being canceled or moved. And a year where they would normally have played close to 60 games by now, they've only played 20. Garrett, we both talked with the head coaches, and one of the things head coach Joe Urso mentioned was still trying to figure out his lineup. And normally by this time of the year, that's something you would have already done.
Right. We talked a couple weeks ago when I was on about the UWF coach experimenting during the year on what lineup, and then it kind of settled in towards the end of the season. It's a bit of an issue if you're still trying to figure out where they should be in the order, who should be in what situations, and we've got some definitely fewer at-bats, fewer games played out of the Tampa side than we're accustomed to seeing in the Gulf South Conference potentially.
A lengthy conference here at home plate as they try to get these ground rules sorted out or so, and bats will shake on it as they now shake with all the home plate umpires, and that means we're moments away from getting started in this game to kick off the 2021 South Region Tournament.
Yeah, certainly maybe one of those ground rules that I would be interested in as a first baseman, third baseman, catcher is the large amount of foul territory here, at least until we start to get further down the lines. There's lots of space for those foul balls to stay in play, so you really want to make sure your guys on the bench are involved in terms of, as guys get close to barriers and things, helping them out with this foul ground territory.
Tampa, the home team in this one, is the higher seed, getting set to take the field first in this one. We'll get to the pitcher in just a moment. Going to be a star-studded pitching matchup here today as both teams sending their ace to the mound. Tampa now making their way to the field and gives us the opportunity to introduce the starting pitcher today for the Spartans. It's Michael Paul. He is 7-0 on the season, a 3.16 ERA for the right-hander. He will be tasked with pitching against a very talented Delta State lineup, one of the best offenses in the Gulf South Conference. It gives us an opportunity before we get this game underway to look at that Delta State lineup here. Before we get this one started, it'll be the center fielder Chad Raglan leading it off. White will play first base and bat second. Kirkland Trahan, fresh off a South Region award, he'll be in right field batting third. Blake Dendy will be in left. He'll hit cleanup today. Jake Barlow, one of the best players in the country, will bat fifth today. He'll play second base. Wyatt Pratt at third. Josh Schmelzer, the designated hitter today, he'll bat seventh. Derek Sargent at shortstop. He had a huge home run in Game 1 of that Gulf South Conference tournament against West Florida here at Jim Spooner Field. He'll bat eighth today, and KD's will bat ninth. He'll be behind the plate. We've seen Donovan Shouse for most of the end of this season dealing with a hand injury that we saw him pick up in that Gulf South Conference tournament last week. He will sit today. Status for the rest of this tournament, I've been told, is doubtful. Michael Paul, though, will have a tall task today against this talented lineup, but he has been very good this year, the junior out of Clearwater, Florida. A 3.16 ERA on the season. Garrett, from Paul, what are you expecting today?
Needs to start with some first pitch strikes. He's over there on the first base side of the rubber, so I'm expecting that potentially fastball to kind of bear in on those right-handed hitters. Certainly if we can keep the walks down, which he's done pretty well throughout this year, he should be able to command the strike zone and keep these Delta State hitters off balance.
Michael Paul, he allows leadoff hitters to reach at about a 295 clip. Jake Barlow, very good out of that leadoff spot. He will lead it off today. He was 6 for 27, a 222 batting average in those Gulf South Conference championships. As we get set for baseball, Paul's ready, Raglan's ready. First pitch, grounded to second. The throw to first by Winkelmeier in time, and we are officially underway here in Pensacola. First pitch, 11:05 today. as we get these 2021 South Region Tournament underway.
Useful getting a first pitch swing and first pitch out there for Paul.
A 4-3 ground out if you're keeping score at home. Alongside me and Garrett up here in the booth, it'll be Hayden White batting second today. White on the season. He's appeared in all 46 games for Delta State. He's been the primary two-hole hitter all year long. They're going to need him to have a big tournament. He's coming off of just a 5 for 26 showing at the Gulf South Conference Tournament. Skies one into center field. Back on it is Cadenas, still back. He'll make the play just onto the warning track for out number 2. A lengthy fly out there by Hayden White. Garrett, we mentioned and we saw last week in this game here between Delta State and West Florida, the wind blowing directly in, was not a lot of home runs hit in that game. Maybe we'll see a different result here today.
Right, kind of blowing a little bit across the field. I think I mentioned it was blowing slightly out to right, but I think it is actually just coming maybe from the first to the third base side of the field. But certainly those long fly balls might be able to have a little bit more of a chance for this Delta State team, which loves the long ball this year.
Both of these teams set up a bit differently. This Tampa team, they don't hit a lot of home runs, but this Delta State team, that has been their calling card all year long. Bouncer there in the dirt to the 3-hole hitter, Kirkland Trahan. Trahan hitting .339 on the season. Enters today a 7-game on-base streak. He was hot in both Oxford and Pensacola, going 8 for 25 in that Gulf South Conference Championship. Swings and a miss right there, and the count will even up. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Looked like Trahan was out in front on that one. Maybe a little 2-1 changeup from Paul, getting the swing and miss to give him just 1 strike from getting out of this first inning.
That one shot into center field, getting down in a hurry. First hit of the ball game as Trahan lines a single into center field with 2 outs.
Yeah, pitch up in the zone there with 2 strikes, not where you want to leave that. And really, as a hitter with 2 strikes, just staying right on the ball, driving it right back up the middle. Excellent job by Trahan for Delta State's first base runner of the game.
Those 2 hit base knocks, so important. They extend the inning, Garrett, and they force a pitcher like Michael Paul, who, if you're Tampa, you want to see him get deep today. They force him to throw extra pitches here early on. Yeah,
he's out of the stretch. He'd obviously been in the lineup for the first 3 hitters, so now working out of the stretch. We'll see what kind of a move he has, if he's able to make still his best pitches out of the stretch. Certainly that'll be a consideration here.
Paul, a long look in, working out of the stretch here for the first time with a runner on base, facing Blake Dendy. Dendy had a couple of home runs and 9 RBIs in those Gulf South Conference championships. Enters today on a mini 2-game hitting streak, but Garrett, is you played college baseball, and even at 2 games, you feel like you're playing well.
Certainly you like to feel that rhythm that you're getting in. You feel like you're seeing the ball well. You feel like your timing is on as well. That's very important coming into a stretch like this.
Paul will miss outside to even the count up. This Delta State team, as we mentioned, they love to hit the long ball, but one thing they don't do a lot of, Garrett, they don't run, and neither of these teams really do. Not a ton of pressure or pride on the base paths.
Yeah, and that's fine if you're looking for that 3-run homer, get a couple of guys on and hit one out. Certainly a great way to score runs. You don't want to run yourself into outs if you've got some big boppers down in the lineup.
A ball and 2 strikes as Dendy follows that one off the back netting. Just a beautiful day here to kick off these NCAA regionals here on the campus of the University of West Florida, Jim Spooner Field. Really showing out today. The last time this tournament was hosted here on the campus of West Florida, 2011, a year that University of West Florida fans perhaps remember well. That was the year they would go on to win the national championship. And as I've talked to most of these coaches, all of these coaches to be exact, but Garrett, they've all said the same thing. West Florida, they come into this tournament as the favorite, and how can you not? The number one ranked team in the nation, playing extremely well. But some very talented teams here in West Florida. A tough matchup tonight against Shorter. We'll see how that goes.
Right, when you get into this shortened environment, it does give you a little bit cause for concern as we see a good pitch up in the zone there.
Swing and a miss there by Paul, and that'll do it here in the first. We're headed to the second inning. The bottom of the first inning here at Jim Spooner Field, Tampa. They'll come to bat for the first time.
Hi, I'm Mark Emmert, president of the NCAA. At the NCAA, we know that readers become leaders. While the young men and women who play college sports may be tremendous athletes, each and every one of them is also a student pursuing a college degree. As a parent, you're your child's first and most important teacher. Encourage your kids to read daily. Start the habit early by reading with them when they're young. Then have them read to you for about 30 minutes a day when they get a little bit older. Reading prepares children for lifelong opportunity and allows them to create great mysteries and stories and explore the world through their own mind. Very few student athletes will go on to play sports professionally, which is why their education is so important. What they learn through reading and through the classroom prepares them for life after sports. So pick up a book and help set your kids on the path to opportunity.
Bottom of the first inning here in Pensacola. It'll be Hunter Riggins. We'll get to his resume in a moment, but before that, let's take a quick jaunt at the Tampa lineup. It'll be Nicholas Winkelmeier leading it off today, followed by E.J. Cumbo. He'll bat second, and playing the outfield, Drew Earhart at second base. He'll bat third. Jamarcus Lyons in the four-hole. Dan Sullivan hitting fifth. Glancy in the sixth hole. Coach Joe Urso's son, J.D., will bat seventh today. Luke McDonald behind the plate, and Jose Cadenas will round out the lineup today and play in center field. First pitch, a strike out of the hand of Riggins. Hunter Riggins, one of the most impressive resumes of any player in Delta State history. He has picked up a myriad of awards, and he has gained a reputation, Garrett, as a big game pitcher. And in this first game against the three-seeded Spartans of Tampa, you know who you're going to.
Yeah, you can't wait or hold on to your best pitcher. You really want to get out in front of this tournament, get a win on the board, and see where you can go from there.
Riggins at 9-4 on the season will look to pick up win number 10. He leads the Gulf South Conference, or led the Gulf South Conference in wins this season. He faces Nicholas Winkelmeier, hitting .344 out of the leadoff spot this year, .595 in leadoff situations this year. So he has been on base a ton to start off games this season.
Really useful being able to set the table there for the guys coming up behind you. He's looked a little bit late on his swings here at the beginning, though.
Grounder to second. Barlow will field it cleanly and throw to first in time for the first out as Riggins retires Winkelmeier, and that'll bring up E.J. Cumbo, the sophomore out of East Meadow, New York. Had a stellar career in his freshman year at New York Tech. Won a ton of awards, Garrett, including East Coast Conference Player of the Year in his first season. He'll bat here, hitting .382 on the season. A 5-game hitting streak on the line today and a 17-game on-base streak today.
Well, goodness, he's slugging .645 on the year. Certainly puts a charge into the ball when he gets a hold of it. Leading Tampa in home runs with 5, certainly in a shortened season, but 5 home runs, 5 doubles.
Delta State, they would not score in that first inning. Despite picking up a hit, they would leave a runner on base. As Paul pitched well, other than the 2-out base knock to Trahan. Riggins ahead in the count here, evened up now. As he comes set, working up in the zone, perhaps trying to get Cumbo to chase a little bit right there, but able to lay off.
Yeah, Riggins looks like he's got a really good fastball today. We'll see if he tries to set up his other pitches, starting hitters off with that the first time through the lineup.
That one will miss upstairs on the breaking ball. 3 balls and a strike now with 1 out.
Already starting to wipe his hand off. I'm not sure if that would be sweat or what issue to deal with there, but that could be something to watch out for.
E.J. Cumbo, he's hit safely in 16 of the 19 games he's played in. He'll work a leadoff walk. 2 stolen bases on the season, and Garrett, we mentioned it with the 2-out base knock, but even more so, leadoff walks. They oftentimes come back to bite pitchers. Riggins going to have to work around that leadoff walk here.
Yeah, certainly nice to have 1 out already, but we'll be looking for the Delta State up the middle duo here. I think you were telling me before the game the most double plays in the Gulf South. Was that even in the nation?
Yeah, actually it was.
Okay.
Number 1 team in the nation in turning the double play, and Barlow and Sargent up the middle have been so good. I'd forgotten that Winkelmeier had grounded out, but still a walk here in the first inning by Riggins. And that brings up Drew Earhart. Earhart, 14 games played this year, hitting .306. Batting for his first time here in the 2021 NCAA South Regions. Cumbo, as we mentioned, not much of a threat to run at first base. He is a 5-tool player. You see him hit home runs, and you'll see him steal bases from time to time, so definitely someone to watch over there. And Garrett, normally early on in these games, too, there's a kind of a feeling out period for both head coaches, although these teams familiar with each other to some extent after playing in 2019.
Right. It's definitely, they're not in the same conference, but certainly in the same region. They've been battling each other for many years, and so you kind of understand the tendencies of one another. Delta State certainly with more games played, so Tampa has more data to work with this particular year, but certainly there's some familiarity between these two.
Cumbo, he's scored 20 runs on the season. Drew Earhart, who's at the plate, he got off to a strong start in the month of March. He struggled a bit in April, and then was starting to turn things around in May. He was 3 for 8 to start that month before ultimately that series against Florida Southern called off. And, he ends the month 3 for 8. This Tampa team, Garrett, they haven't played since the 1st of May, the last time that they played a baseball game. And so, a long layoff. You played baseball at the college level. How does that affect you?
For me, the biggest difficulty was facing velocity. Off of such a long layoff. You see the major leaguers go through rehab assignments as they come back from a long layoff. You have that spring training where you build up. It'll be what has Tampa done in the 3 weeks they have
yesterday, in fact, with head coach Joe Urso. He did say, I said, what has been your favorite memory of the year? And he said, the biggest thing I've appreciated is how these guys have helped make inter-squad fun. He said they've had to play a lot of inter-squad games this year, and he said they've done a great job of making it fun, making it feel like a real game. And he doesn't think that the lengthy layoff is going to affect them. He said perhaps it may even help them a bit, especially on the pitching front after they kind of have a narrowed staff, about 2-3 good starters, and then you've got your star closer, but the bullpen can be a bit shaky for this Tampa squad.
Right, certainly you worry about the pitching depth here as we get into a tournament situation where you've got to win several games. As we see a chopper there back up the middle. It'll
get through as Lyons singles up the middle. Cumbo going first to third, and Tampa set up with 2 outs here.
High hopper off the hard pack here in front of the UWF plate. One thing we noticed as we were doing games earlier this year was how high some of those chopped balls did get, and kept a lot of velocity there back up through the middle. And Barlow unable to handle that one.
Lyons a .327 hitter on the season. That goes up with the single here, and that'll bring up the first baseman, Dan Sullivan, hitting .370. He's a transfer out of Oakton Community College. Hails from Palatine, Illinois. A junior standing at 6'2". He'll bat out of that left-handed batter's box. And a big spot here, Garrett. Just 8 RBIs on the season, but a chance here to give Tampa an early lead.
Right, 2 outs, so you're not looking for sacrifice fly. You would need the base hit, but certainly Cumbo here at third base would be watchful for any type of passed ball. Again, with this deep area here behind the catcher, that could be worrisome for them.
And I think that comes into play a bit, Garrett, as we were mentioning in the pregame. The primary catcher for Delta State, it's been Donovan Schaus for the last month of the season. KD started a lot at the beginning of the year, but with Schaus being forced to miss this game and potentially the tournament, you never know how that layoff, where he's only played once in the last 3-4 weeks, how does that affect a catcher? We'll see today.
Breaking ball misses there. We did see before this batter came up, Delta State did check on Cumbo touching second base there, and that appeal was denied. And then we saw some signs that the catcher gave out first and third situations. You want to make sure everyone's on the same page with a potential stolen base.
Riggins comes set behind in the count. He'll get a strike call there. Garrett, oftentimes you see this time and time again at the big league level on a 2-0 pitch right there. That's normally a fastball count, but it's becoming less and less so in today's game as teams are content to, as you saw right there, throw a breaking ball.
You want a strike pitch, and if you can catch them a little bit off guard with an off-speed pitch, great. You hope you don't hang one. That would be the concern.
That one shot foul. And Riggins battling back to even the count, is a strikeout already in the inning. He'd love another here to get out of danger. Riggins, as we mentioned earlier on, he has a lengthy track record that's seen him pick up, a dozen or so major awards. But he threw 8 innings against this Tampa team in that Super Regional in 2019. Gave up 3 runs and would ultimately earn a tough loss there. So certainly some perhaps unfinished business for some of these Delta State guys. I think of Riggins and Barlow, guys who played in that game, that perhaps are looking for a different outcome. Grounder through the right side. It'll get through. Barlow laying out. And Tampa, an early lead.
There it is. You like to get that run on the board. Just give yourselves a little bit of confidence, again, with that long layoff. Get that run in. Able to square that one up pretty well to get through the right side.
And in talking with head coach Joe Urso yesterday for Tampa, one of the things, Garrett, he mentioned is that in spots like this, they need to tack on. As we mentioned, the pitching staff a little bit shorter than we're used to out of Tampa this season. You don't want to have to use a guy like Jordan Leisure if you don't have to. So in situations like this, you want to try to tack on here.
Yeah, you're definitely looking to give yourself some breathing room, give yourself some comfort where you either feel better about maybe extending your start a little bit or getting in a lower pressure situation for somebody out of the pen.
Cumbo scoring the first run today and his 21st of the season. Head coach Joe Urso, the third base coach here today. Jose Jimenez over at first base. And Tampa set up, runners on first and second, 2 outs. The designated hitter Glancy, who hits 200 with 2 outs this season, up to bat. That one into left field. Dendy camping underneath it. He'll make the play for the final out. But Tampa, they score a run here in the bottom of the first inning. They'll take a lead into the second as Delta State comes back to bat here in Pensacola.
And after that, we can go to the moves about 7. Around it. Is it me, or is that uncle kind of freaking you out?
In NCAA Division II, community engagement is an initiative at all 25 national championships because student athletes want to give back while competing for a national title. Over the course of the year, Division II student athletes have an opportunity to leave a lasting impression in local communities throughout the country. Whether Division II student athletes are volunteering at hospitals, schools, after-school care programs, foster homes, or they make a difference in the lives of others. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
As we come back, top of the second inning here at Jim Spooner Field, and Garrett, a big run there by Tampa to scratch across the runoff of Hunter Riggins early on in today's ballgame.
Not a ball hit really hard, particularly in that inning. You had a walk, a chopper that just squirted through the middle, a ball that was just out of the diving reach of Barlow. So as Riggins, you kind of feel unlucky, but you're down on the scoreboard 1-0, hoping your offense can pick you up a little bit here.
Michael Paul, you certainly have to love working with a lead, though, Garrett. You were a pitcher back in the day. How does that change your mindset out on the mound when you have a lead?
Well, it really gives you the freedom to feel like you can go right at a hitter. You're not worried about falling further and further behind. You're stepping up here with some confidence as we see a fly ball there to left.
Shallow into left field. The shortstop, J.D. Urso, he'll make the play for the first out of the inning. Paul working quickly and efficiently so far in this game. He's pitching well early on.
Yeah, I like those about 12 pitches an inning. We saw him at 13 pitches there. That would be interesting for me in terms of Delta State's mindset. They've come out swinging the bats early in the count. If you're looking to work this Tampa Bay pitching, try to get into that pen, maybe take a few pitches here, but their mindset is to swing and hit the ball hard.
That brings up Wyatt Pratt, hitting .290 on the season. We saw him as the primary designated hitter for Delta State in that Gulf South Conference tournament. He went 7 for 25, just under 300. He then started to play some third base with Josh Schmelzer struggling. Schmelzer on deck as the designated hitter in this game. I asked head coach Rodney Batts if there was some thought of how much Schmelzer would play in this tournament. He said, we just felt like he needed a breather in that last game. They gave him that breather, and they're hoping to see him, round back into form here at this tournament.
Sometimes you just need to clear your head a little bit, watch your teammates go out there and get the job done, and we'll see if he's able to come back here a little bit more refreshed.
Pratt, he gets on base at just under a 400 clip on the season. If you're doing some quick math at home, every 10 times he comes to the plate, he's going to get on base about 4 times. So that's something that you love to see, those OBPs close to 400.
Yeah, certainly you're not going to – you can hit a bunch of solo home runs, but you need to have guys on base, especially at the college level where you're potentially a little bit more station to station.
Jared, I think it's so important, as we saw Tampa do in that first inning. It was their ability to hit with 2 outs. They go 2 for 3 with 2 outs and ultimately get that run. For Riggins, he had gotten a couple of, quick outs there. He did walk that second batter. He thought, hey, you might get out of the inning. But then it was Tampa who kind of just, continued to tack on there at the end.
They fought in those at-bats, and certainly you love to see that as your coach thinking, saying he's not worried about the layoff, but concerned about the rust potentially able to scratch across the run in their first inning back at the plate.
Paul battling 3-2 pitch, upcoming to the 6-hole hitter today, Wyatt Pratt. Pratt on the season, he did fail to reach base in that Game 2 of the Gulf South Conference Championship, and Garrett, that ended a season-best 20-game on-base streak.
Well, I guess you've got to miss one every now and again, but certainly 20 games is quite impressive, and you like to see them able to get on base, especially maybe resetting for some of their bigger home run hitters as the lineup rolls over.
He's appearing in his 30th game on the season here today. He's hit safely in 20 of them. He's had 2 or more hits in 5 of his last 10 games, so he's been red hot. And Garrett, at the end of the season and, tournaments like we saw last week and even, beginning here today, you want to be hot at the end of the year. You want to be peaking at the right time.
Yeah, the regular season record is great because it gets you into the postseason, but you need to be able to come through when it matters. And there's talk about the clutch gene or the statistics that back up those. Really, sometimes you just need that seeing eye single to keep your momentum going.
And I think you keyed me in perfectly right there with Josh Schmelzer, a guy who was just 1 for 18 in that Gulf South Conference tournament. He's a guy right here that would love to get a seeing eye single, but instead into right field, back at the track. That one off the wall. It'll get down and roll around. Pratt going to be held up at third, and Josh Schmelzer. It was a tough Gulf South Conference tournament, but leads off the NCAA regionals with a lengthy double.
That's first pitch swinging right there. And ball carried pretty well out there to right center. Didn't look like, or it looked like the day off last week maybe did him some good.
Schmelzer doubling here, and Delta State set up with multiple runners in scoring position here, Garrett, with less than 2 outs. This is a situation that if you're the Statesman, you want to take advantage of here early on.
Right, only 1 out. You could look for sacrifice fly. Middle infielders are playing back, so a sacrifice hit there up the middle. You could see the squeeze or the safety squeeze. Options here for Delta State. Again, swinging on the first pitch there.
Derek Sargent, the 8-hole hitter today, he had one of the biggest home runs of the season for Delta State in that first game of the Gulf South Conference Championships. Homering off of Alex Knight, who had an 11-inning scoreless streak going, and that would give Delta State a 2-1 lead in that game. They would go on to win that game, the only game that they won in those Gulf South Conference tournament. But he had been 0 for 2 in that game, Garrett, and one of the biggest swings for him, so he does have the pop to send one out.
Yeah, certainly. We saw him square around right there, but maybe concerning with the 40 strikeouts this year. It looks like tied for the lead on this Delta State team. They're certainly swinging the bats early and often in these counts, and I would like to see them maybe a little bit more patient, as it looks like they're going out of the zone even on some of those swings.
Sargent hitting just .227 on the season. He did have that big home run. Watches that one in the dirt, gives the stop sign at third.
Paul has made some non-competitive pitches with 2 strikes. They're not even bouncing before the catcher. They're bouncing in front of the plate. It looks like, at least from up here in the booth, that you're not – he got a check swing last inning, but
the goal is make it close, but not too close, right?
Right, and those aren't, as I said, non-competitive pitches. I don't like those.
2 balls, 2 strikes here. Multiple runners in scoring position. Sargent into right field, getting down in a hurry. Cumbo over, he'll make the play. Tagging it third is Pratt. He will score in this game, tied. And a great job there behind the play there by Schmelzer to get into third.
Yeah, you like to be able to get him into a position where if there is a pass ball or a wild pitch, and we've seen Paul throw some in the dirt, he's able to score on one of those.
That'll bring up KD's. We've mentioned him a couple of times already, getting the start today with the primary catcher Donovan Shows dealing with an injury. We don't know if we'll see him during this tournament. It had been described to me as doubtful, Garrett, but you never know in these tournaments. This is the end of the year. This is when you put it all on the line.
Right. You really want to try to gut through something like that, and you're concerned maybe about being able to be there for your teammates when possible. So we'll see if he ends up able to play in any of these games this weekend.
That sac fly by Sargent, his third of the season. It drives in a run and ties this game up. KD's on the season, hitting .202, making his 24th start of the season here today. He's hit safely in 14 games, but he has not had a hit, Garrett, in his last 15 at-bats. And as we saw Schmelzer already do in this inning, maybe another big opportunity to perhaps break out of, a mini slump.
Yeah, definitely. He's up there swinging the bat. He's certainly not shying away from going after some of these pitches.
That one hit hard into center. It'll hang up. Cadenas, he'll make the catch in center field, but not before the Statesmen of Delta State. They scratch a run across. They score a run on a hit. A sacrifice fly by Derek Sargent driving that run in. The score tied as we head to the bottom of the second here in Pensacola, Florida.
Explore your dreams. Discover your talents. Get ready to invent, innovate, and be a leader. This is the University of Tampa.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor. It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
As we come back, it's a new ball game here in the second inning. Garrett is Delta State. They scratch across the run there, and for Riggins, that allows you to kind of breathe a sigh of relief here. You expect a pitcher's duel here today, and so far through the first 2 innings, still feeling out if we're going to get that today or not.
That was what we had kind of said as, Riggins was walking back to the bench there, maybe feeling a little bit unlucky about that first inning, but his offense came out, picked him up. Nice to see Schmelzer get off with a good hit there.
Urso attacking the first pitch there and grounding back up the middle. He's out on the play on the 4-3 put out. Quick first pitch and one out here in the second.
Mcdonald, catcher for Tampa, looks like he's a good defensive catcher, certainly as he's been able to corral all of those balls in the dirt so far. 257 average on the year. We'll see if he's able to heat up in this tournament.
Luke McDonald making his 11th start of the season behind the plate. He's now played in 15 games. He's a sophomore. He stands at 6'2", weighing in about 205. Staten Island, New York. A New Yorker right there, Garrett.
I'd give you an accent impersonation, but no one would appreciate that.
Well, you're a Southern boy.
Yeah.
Grew up down here.
Yeah.
I grew up in upstate New York, and we moved down here. So I've been down here more years, but I still like to claim the New York region. I was upstate. As oftentimes, if you're listening today or just people I randomly have conversations with, they actually forget that there's other parts of the state of New York other than just the city.
Right.
The first question out of everyone's mouth is, "Oh, you're from the city?" No, I'm from upstate. I was up near Canada.
Hop.
Big hop there, as you mentioned. Barlow makes the play to get McDonald at first. Back-to-back groundouts to second to begin the second inning.
Yeah, New York, as you get kind of into the out of the city area, it does get into some country, actually, quite a bit. And you think we've got Lake Placid, New York, where the Olympics have been held previously, and so there is quite a bit else to New York as well.
You get up there, it's as I like to call it, God's country. It's a beautiful part of the country. If you haven't been up there, I grew up in the Adirondack Park, so it was a 6 million acre state park that was just gorgeous. There wasn't even cell phone towers when I was up there. So now looking back, I could say, I don't know how I could have lived up there without a cell phone, right?
Oh, I just don't like the snow.
That was fair, too. But when you're 10 years old and you get 4 or 5 foot of snow, you definitely appreciate that. But as you get older, Garrett, I think you enjoy temperatures like today a bit more than negative 20 degrees.
Yeah, I like a little bit of sweat. And certainly we've seen Riggins out there on the mound wiping his hand a few times, maybe enjoying that as well.
That one shot off to the right side. Hunter Riggins.
Watch out, parking lot.
Looking for a quick inning here in that first inning, Garrett. You mentioned to me through 20 pitches. So looking for that bounce-back inning here, and so far just 5 pitches prior to this batter.
Right, up to 8 pitches here. It looks like he is actually kind of feeling it out there on the mound, working quickly. Looks like he's throwing pretty hard.
That one, nearly a nice play made by Barlow. We'll see how they score it. My money's on a hit. It's going to be a tough play there for Barlow. And if it is a hit, Garrett, it would be the third 2-out hit, and it is a hit. It would be the third 2-out hit of this ball game already for Tampa.
They haven't been strong hits. That one kind of an off-speed pitch that he was able to stay back on, but not really solidly struck. Barlow playing maybe a little bit more shade up the middle. I'd be interested to see if the infielders adjust a little bit here. These Tampa players seem to be a little bit late and hitting stuff the opposite way quite a bit here.
Nice breeze out here today at the ballpark, and despite the almost 90-degree temperatures today, feels great up here. We've got a nice, tent out here, and just enjoying some great baseball here at Jim Spooner Field. First pitch ball there by Riggins to the leadoff hitter Winkelmeier, who would ground out to second. He was the first out of the ball game.
Yeah, swinging. He was able to take a few pitches there his first at bat, so we'll see if Riggins continues the pound the zone approach, or if he tries to mix up his offerings a little bit more.
The 1-0 pitch. Riggins catches that inside corner, and Riggins on the season a just under 250 batting average with 2 outs. He's given up 3 hits, though, today with 2 outs, and normally not a great formula, and it was a great formula for Tampa in that first inning. They were able to strike across the run.
Yeah, you definitely take the outs where you can get them. take the runs, the hits where you can get them. But you'd like to be able to maybe get Riggins off balance a little bit earlier in the inning if possible.
Winkelmeier, a sophomore this season. He transferred from State College of Florida prior to this year. There goes the runner, the hit and run on. That one tapped, and they'll pick it up just foul. Head coach Joe Urso appearing to be getting a little aggressive here early on in these games, sending the runner.
You'd love to get that guy in a scoring position, or if you're able to drive a ball in the gap there, potentially even score him from first here with 2 outs. You're not having to worry about freeze on a liner, go halfway on a pop fly with the 2 outs. The ball's in play. You're definitely looking to take at least third, maybe home, depending on where it ends up.
Winkelmeier appearing in 57 games across a 2-year career at State College of Florida before making his way to the University of Tampa. And talking with head coach Joe Urso, that's a method that they use a lot. There's Central College of Florida and there's State College of Florida down there, and a lot of the guys you'll see as you look up and down this roster played for one of those two. He mentioned to me, and I found this so interesting, he only picks up 3 freshmen each year. There goes the runner, throw down, not in time, and it goes into center field. And there's that runner on third base with 2 outs there, Garrett. A stolen base, and I believe it'll be an E2. A stolen base, and then that error allowing him to advance to third. I like the aggressiveness that I've seen early on from Tampa.
That was interesting. It looked like he didn't get a great jump. He kind of stood up before he actually turned to make his move, and certainly you maybe want to stay a little bit lower to push off. I thought a good throw might have gotten him there, but on the wrong side of the bat, a little bit low, and it unfortunately not able to hold him to just second there.
Runner on third here with 2 outs. Last inning, Tampa was able to get that runner in. This time they will not, as Riggins picks up the ground ball. He'll flip to White in time, and Tampa, they strand a runner, an error in the inning on 1 hit. 1 runner left on base. It'll take us to the 3rd inning. We're all tied up at 1 here at Jim Spooner Field.
College sports.
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
A return to normal, and all we love about sports.
You've instilled resilience, focus, and selflessness in us. We've put those lessons to work.
We've found strength and unity in each other.
You continue to take us places we never imagined.
You bring out the best in us.
So when we look forward, we see the light at the end of the tunnel.
We see a better world for all of us.
And for college sports.
In NCAA Division II, community engagement is an initiative at all 25 national championships because student-athletes want to give back while competing for a national title. Over the course of the year, Division II student-athletes have an opportunity to leave a lasting impression in local communities throughout the country. Whether Division II student-athletes are volunteering at hospitals, schools, after-school care programs, foster homes, or retirement villages, they make a difference in the lives of others. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
A lot of runners left on base here, Garrett, through 2 innings so far. 3 for Tampa and 2 for Delta State. So it hasn't been for a lack of getting runners on base for either of these teams, but so far the starting pitchers have been able to bear down and get out of innings with runners on.
Yeah, certainly we haven't seen any leadoff men reach base yet, and so you'd think that would be a focus here. Try to get somebody on base early in the count, especially rolling over back to the top of the lineup here for Delta State to start this 3rd inning.
Raglan leading off as he has done in all 47 games this season. Some pretty simple math on the year. Delta State 28-18 with him out of the leadoff role. He's been up there all year long. 301 batting average. He was a Gulf South Conference Player of the Week back in 2020. Hit safely in 34 games this season so far.
Yeah, he's also got a decent strikeout to walk ratio. Certainly you'd like the walks to be higher than the strikeouts, but just 25 strikeouts to 18 walks, so he's able to keep his on base up in that way as well.
Raglan, that one shot into left field, still tracking back, still back. It'll get down. Raglan coasting into second, a leadoff double there. Garrett, the ball appears to be carrying today.
Yeah, it looked like Lions there was surprised at how well that carried. It was also, tailing obviously off of that left-hand batter towards the left field line, and so he maybe overran, had to loop back a little bit, but over the head, and it looked like Lions maybe misjudged that one a little bit.
A double to lead off the inning, and Chad Raglan on second. And that brings up Hayden White, who has been so good with runners in scoring position this season, Garrett. A .373 batting average, and he has 44 RBIs on the campaign. A big RBI situation right here early on in this game.
Yeah, with the pitcher maybe having to slow down just a tick here. Now with the runner on second, catcher having to mix up the signs.
White, he was third in the Gulf South Conference this season with 66 hits. However, as we mentioned, just 5 for 26 in those Gulf South Conference championships. And just as we had mentioned as we led into this inning, there's been a lot of runners on base here early.
Yeah, now we've got that leadoff runner on, and we'll see if Delta State is able to scratch anything across with that advantage.
Garrett, if you're White right here, obviously the thought can cross your mind of drive that runner in, but you want to move him over, and instead a defensive miscue right there by Tampa, and Raglan at third now.
Well, we'd seen a lot of those balls in the dirt from Paul already, and odds are eventually one of those is going to score it away, and at this point in time, it was a bad time for that to just pop a little bit away from Mcdonald.
And if you're White here, you're thinking one of two things, a fly ball into the outfield or a ground ball to second base here to get the run in and give your team the lead.
10 home runs, I'd imagine he's thinking fly ball to the outfield. He saw how well that ball carried off Raglan's bat. We saw how well the ball carried off Schmelzer's bat. Elevate something. It might have a chance to drive that run in.
White coming into this game on a 19-game on-base streak. He had a lengthy hitting streak snapped last week, but continuing that on-base streak. 3 balls and 2 strikes here.
Worked the count full after being 0-2. Good discipline there not to chase anything out of the zone.
That lengthy hitting streak that he had snapped, it was a 14-gamer. He had a season-best 16-gamer earlier on this year, so he's been red hot all season. Chopper just foul. Garrett, you were mentioning both in the pregame and even in a previous broadcast we had done just how tightly packed it seems to be in front of home plate, and even that one got a good carom. We've seen balls hit off that dirt and actually make it over the third baseman over there.
Right, yeah, that's definitely a challenge as he's trying to play in to potentially cut the runner down at home. Well, a high chop is potentially getting into the outfield. Not this time.
Big strikeout there for Paul. His second strikeout, second of the swinging variety. He gets White here, and now 1 out in the inning. That's a huge strikeout because now it gives you the a lot of different options here with that runner on third still.
Yeah, certainly. It looked like a nice little two-seam fastball that got just under the hands of White. Trahan up to the plate now. I can't imagine we'd see a bunt here, but again, only 1 out, still fly ball drives in the runner.
Speed on third base. Trahan singled in his first at bat back up the middle. That single came with 2 outs. That time he'll shoot one to short. That'll get a run in. Urso with a strong throw in time. But Delta State, Garrett, they take a lead early on. They manufacture that run. You get the double, the wild pitch, and just a great job of situational hitting there to ground to short.
Yeah, Trahan able to stay on that pitch a little bit low and away and just got the run in there as the middle infielders were playing back. Still early in the game, and so you don't necessarily need to bring those infielders in.
You expect with both of these talented lineups that, yes, do these runs early on in the game matter? Absolutely. But you would expect both of these lineups to score a few more times throughout the game today.
Right. I thought it was interesting there. Paul went back out of the stretch even with the runner on third base and started to make some better pitches.
Dendy fouled that one back into the tree just to our left. Took a couple leaves off. 0 for 2 now. Or 0 for 1 in this game. Count is 0-2 to the 4-hole hitter Dendy, hitting .301 on the season. That dropped down to .298 with in his first at bat. He'll strike out for the second time, swinging. But Delta State, they pick up a lead. It was a leadoff double by Chad Raglan. He got the third on a wild pitch, and then a ground out by Kirkland Trahan. It gives Delta State the lead. Hunter Riggins coming back out for his third inning of work when we come back.
number 32, Kyle Hornsby.
Inside the 30. Touchdown. Michaela burns it. An incredible finish by Holmes.
The NCAA and its member schools offer nearly 500,000 college athletes a path to go pro in something other than sports. Learn more at ncaa.org.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor.
It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
The right fielder, E.J. Cumbo, to lead it off as we come back. And Tampa, for the first time in this game, they trail 2-1 after Delta State scratched across the run last inning. Leadoff single.
Didn't seem to bother Cumbo that they were trailing.
Neither team had gotten a leadoff base runner on in this game so far, and now both teams have done it in the last 2 innings.
Right, man, that was not a hard hit ball. He got jammed a little bit, but just got it over the pitcher's head and through the infield.
Hey, what's the saying? Sometimes better lucky than good. And some of the hits for Tampa, they haven't been hard hit, but they've been well hit, placed right where you haven't seen players for Delta State. But right here, though, Garrett, a big situation. We talked about how good Delta State is at turning a double play, and Riggins would love to get a ground ball up the middle right here.
Yeah, he's looking to throw something low in the zone, certainly able to throw that low in the zone, and I just saw the second baseman covering his mouth there to the shortstop on what the coverage is going to be.
There goes the runner again, hit and run on again.
About 2 for 2 on stolen base attempts this year, so it looks like Tampa's coming out aggressive on those base paths.
We've seen them put the hit and run on a couple of times here early on with the runner going, the swing at the plate, and haven't been successful yet, but some good aggressiveness early on, and you love to see that in the game of baseball. You don't see that as much these days.
Especially if you think Riggins is going to be pounding the zone. Having the hit and run on is a great way to get your hitter in the mindset of swinging the bat at a good pitch.
Time called at the plate.
Cumbo actually leaning back towards first a little bit before time was called. Not a huge lead over there this time.
Riggins been effective so far in this game, 34 pitches through the first 2 innings. Garrett, you're the math guy, but I think my math is right, an average of about 17. You like to see that around 12 if you hope to get deep in a ball game, but we've also seen Riggins on many times this year go over 100 pitches. That one shot by third and down into the gap. Nice play by Dendy to cut it off. And they're going to hold the runner at third. It's a double. And now runners on second and third here, just like we saw Delta State do last inning.
Yeah, nobody out here for Tampa as well. And so you're definitely looking to be able to scratch. But frankly, both of those runs really need to come in. We talked about both teams being able to score a lot of runs. Here's a good situation where you need to score those.
You've got your 4-hole hitter coming to the plate with those 2 runners in scoring position. Jamarcus Lyons, who singled up the middle in his first plate appearance, hits .370 with runners on base, but just .261, Garrett, with runners in scoring position.
Such a small sample size. I don't know that I would put too much stock in those numbers. He's got that bat a little flat, maybe a high ball hitter.
Grounder to short. Sargent. It was tough to see as the runner almost shielded that ball, but able to make the play. But Tampa retying this game, and very similar to what you saw Delta State do last inning.
Yeah, able to get that runner home from without wasting an out there, as I think we saw Delta State do last inning.
They had that strikeout, and then you would see that 6-3 ground out. now Tampa, that runner on third base and just one out. Garrett, you want to get this run in. You want to perhaps just put the ball in play up the middle or into the outfield.
Yeah, not too challenging, hopefully, to get that runner home from third, although Riggins has thrown some really good pitches today. We'll see how he handles this.
Just one out in the inning.
Don't see that throw over to third much anymore. Interesting little ploy to keep him closer to third base.
Garrett, actually in that Gulf South Conference tournament up in Oxford, I don't believe it was this Delta State team, but there was a play where someone got picked off at third base, and it was, actually I want to say it was against Shorter. If I remember correctly, Jacob Pager, their star freshman, triples, and then gets picked off at third base. And, that's a tough play, but you're right. You don't see that throw over there very often.
No, we're definitely seeing Riggins having to labor a bit more. He's, thrown quite a few pitches, and the Tampa offense is really making him work out there.
Riggins, a 2.8 ERA on the season. He's given up a couple of runs today. ERA's gone up a couple of points. Entered with a 2.64 ERA on the season. It hasn't, I would still categorize this a bit as a pitching duel early on, but both of these two teams doing a good job at scratching across runs.
Yeah, they're able to scratch across the run. Looks like they'll get another one here with that ground out to second.
A 4-3 ground out and back-to-back RBI ground outs for Tampa. They regain the lead.
Interesting. Riggins choosing to still work out of the stretch with that runner on. That's why he was able to make that pickoff throw over to third. Unlike Paul, who went back to the windup when there was a runner on third. There's some different philosophies with that. But just that...
for the average viewer out there, Garrett, talk to me a little bit about what you mean by being in the windup, being in the stretch,
Sure.
and how that affects a pitcher, why you'll see them switch to one or the other with runners on base or a runner on third, as you're talking about.
Yeah, so working out of the windup, you will commonly see that for starters when there's nobody on base, occasionally a reliever, and they just maybe feel a little bit more comfortable there. It's not quite as rushed. When there's a runner on, they're trying to get the ball to the plate quickly. They certainly don't want to have to take the extra time of going through a step and a full build-up to a pitch. Maybe you're seeing more maximum velocity out of the windup than you would be out of the stretch. The stretch is getting you to home plate. You might see a slide step, sometimes a bigger leg kick, and oh boy, there's a lot of work that you would do at definitely the middle school and high school level and getting comfortable with that.
Riggins will dot the outside corner right there, battling back from a 2-0 count. 2-1 now, and 2 outs. And Garrett, I heard a great quote earlier this week. I got the chance to talk with Mark Brew, whose team is in the top 10 in the country, and the quote went something like this, and you know what? We're going to wait till next inning. Ground ball there to first. White will get it. He'll tag first base in time to get the designated hitter Glancy. But Tampa, they scratch across the pair. It's 3-2. We're headed to fourth here at Jim Spooner Field.
And after that, we can go to the moves about 7. Round it. Is it me, or is that alcohol kind of freaking you out? Oh!
Number 32, Kyle Hornsby.
Inside the 30. Touchdown. Michaela Spurgeon. An incredible finish by Hall.
The NCAA and its member schools offer nearly 500,000 college athletes a path to go pro in something other than sports. Learn more at ncaa.org.
When Delta State was last up to bat, Garrett, they had a lead as this game has gone back and forth here early on. 3-2 the score after Tampa picked up a pair. They got those runners on second and third with nobody out, and unlike Delta State, who did the same thing last time up, they were able to get 2 across. It's a good job of hitting there, a couple of ground outs to get those runs in.
Yeah, you like to be able to get back at the opposing team when they're able to tie up or even go ahead on the scoreboard, and we saw a great job by Tampa there.
Jake Barlow, that one hammered. That one, it's far, it's gone. Jake Barlow, his 18th home run of the season. He goes big fly. Goodbye, baseball. And this game tied at 3.
Well, Tampa, hopefully they enjoyed the lead there for a couple minutes, but Delta State, we know they're going to put up some runs, and they put one back really quickly right there.
60 RBIs on the year for Jake Barlow, his 18th home run of the season. He was second in the Gulf South Conference and 9th in the NCAA this year. And that one, Garrett, went a long way to left center field.
Yeah, honestly, I don't weirdly, it went out of the park, but I don't think he got all of it. It looked like it got just off the sweet spot on the inner part of his bat there. But that's maybe just a testament to how well the ball is carrying. You can actually see, you don't see the flags in center, but actually outbound right field, you do see that flag blowing out towards left.
You must have done a game or two here before because you've learned the trick. You don't look at the flags in center field. Those trees out there do a great job at shielding. That one shot down the right field line, it'll go foul. Those trees in center field, they kind of give you an optical illusion out there because the wind doesn't blow those flags a ton. But you're right, Garrett, that flag that probably the viewers you can't see in right field, but it gives you a better read, and it looks like that, wind blowing out to left field a little bit.
Yeah, and we even saw that ball that was fouled off, if there's no wind, potentially gets out of play. There was actually a possible play there. It was out of the reach of the Tampa second baseman right fielder, but that one actually stayed in play where there was a possibility.
It was Pratt. He would walk in the second inning and then ultimately come in to score on a sacrifice fly by Derek Sargent, the 8-hole hitter, getting his second at-bat of the day, second plate appearance. And he'll strike out swinging. And out in the inning, and a good job there by Paul after giving up that lengthy home run to battle right back and get the strikeout.
Yeah, you like to see that out of the pitcher. He's done well with first pitch strikes so far in this game. He's got 11 first pitch strikes out of, 15 batters faced, and you like getting ahead in the count there. Either a first pitch strike, some of those were balls put in play, but he's definitely pounding the zone here.
Another first pitch strike right there. You want to do that as a pitcher because now that gives you your full repertoire. You can go to another fastball here. You could bounce that breaking ball. It just opens up your repertoire.
Yeah, certainly the hitter's having to catch back up with you at that point. And so those first pitch strikes keeps the hitters a bit more honest.
Ball and a strike here with one out.
Schmelzer is last at bat, right? Took that first pitch and hit it almost out to right center field off the wall out there.
A big hit for him after a difficult time at the plate up in Oxford and even in Pensacola last week in that 3-game Gulf South Conference Championship Series, but got off to a good start here today. He'll spit on that pitch outside, 3-1. And Garrett, as we went to break last time, I was talking about a quote that Coach Mark Brew had thrown out to me, and he was talking about the importance of that right side of the scoreboard where the run column is, but he said you can't forget about the left side of the scoreboard, and that being where all the innings are and scoring in each one of those innings. And so far that's something that we've seen each of these teams do. There's only been 2 frames in this game so far where a run hasn't been scored.
Yeah, certainly you have to keep the foot down. If you've only been up by at most 1 run in this game, and so both teams battling back and forth, keeping us as announcers here on our toes with that score as well.
Well, and it was so interesting. One of the other coaches they mentioned we'll see the University of West Florida on later on this evening in that game, and one of the things that they were mentioning is that oftentimes you feel like you're playing right with that West Florida team, but then you look up at the scoreboard in the 5th inning and it's 5-1. And it's because you've been grinding, and they just do so well at getting runners in and moving runners over. And before you know it, they've put up, multiple runs, and you don't even realize it. And Garrett, I kind of feel the same way early on in this game. There's been 6 runs already scored, only 1 inning with 2. But each of these teams just doing their job, scratching runs across, and the score continues to creep up.
Yeah, that's how math works, right? As we add those runs up as they come across.
Derek Sargent, he had that sac fly, his 3rd of the season in his first at bat. Garrett, you were going to say something right there.
We've got another runner on here, only 1 out, so we'll see if Delta State's able to do anything with that.
That one popped
Catcher
straight up.
Oh.
A collision there behind the plate. Paul making the play.
You heard the catcher yell, "Can't see." He was putting his glove up to try to shield his eyes. Paul had it the whole way. Looked like the catcher found it there at the last second. Needed a little bit more communication, but thankfully Paul able to make that out.
The athleticism, though, on display on the mound there for Michael Paul, Garrett. That's a tough play. You're coming down off the mound. He probably had to run 60, 70 feet to make that play. That's a nice athletic play by your pitcher.
Yeah, you don't see pitchers in the major leagues field pop-ups almost ever. And so some of these younger guys have played other positions very recently at the high school level, and so still accustomed to being able to track and make those catches.
For all those who might think that, pitchers aren't athletes, Michael Paul showing that is not the case right there, doing a good job of fielding his position.
Helped himself out, certainly. You need to make the outs that the other team is going to give to you, in a sense, with that pop-up.
KD's a runner on first base. It's Schmelzer after he worked a 1-out walk. He starts and stops. Dees watches a breaking ball miss outside. 2-0 the count. He flew out to center field to end the 2nd inning, getting his 2nd plate appearance of the day here in the 4th. After being held scoreless in the top of the 1st inning, the Statesmen, they picked up a run in the 2nd and the 3rd, and if I sound like a broken record, they did it again in the 4th inning. 3-3 the score. That one hard off that concrete pillar holding up the net over there and caromed right back onto the field.
Paul would really like to get out of this inning here facing the 9-hole hitter, KD's. As you mentioned, into the starting lineup due to some injury.
Swing and a miss there. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Michael Paul, he's gone 5 or more innings in all 7 of his starts this season. He's had 4 or more strikeouts in 5 of 7 outings, has 3 early on today. Perhaps each of these pitchers grinding, and at this point you're against really good lineups, and neither of them having their best day at keeping runs off the scoreboard, but grinding at bats here and so far minimizing the damage, and that's a key if you're a starting pitcher, is minimizing that damage.
Right, certainly you feel like you've got a good offense behind you, and so you're trying to keep your team in the game. You're trying to make sure the bullpen doesn't have to do a lot of work here early in the tournament. At the end of the day, you need to get the win, right? So you're going to be trying to pound the zone and keep your pitch count down.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. That one through the right side. The first baseman, Sullivan, almost made the play on the dive. But when the dust settles, it'll be runners on 1st and 3rd with 2 outs. A single by the 9-hole hitter, KD's. And that turns over the lineup for Chad Raglan, who doubled in his last at-bat.
Right, that's what you wanted to do as Delta State there. Keep the line moving, and now they've got Raglan to try to drive that runner in. Good at bat there by Dees, fouling off a couple of tough pitches to stay alive, and then just sneaking that one through. He got kind of jammed up and in there. He was standing. I was looking at his feet. He was kind of not over the line because you only have to have a part on the line to be in, but his back foot was well over that line, crowding the plate, if you will.
With 2 outs, Delta State, a runner in scoring position. That one shot into left field, going to hang up. It'll be Lions who will make the play for out number 3. Delta State threatening for more right there, but they'll settle for just 1. That one, a lengthy home run by the All-American Jake Barlow into left field. The score, 3-3. We're headed to the bottom of the 4th inning here at Jim Spooner Field.
Being a champion takes more than talent, more than the perfect pass, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the spirit to always push harder, the ability to overcome any hurdle, and the fire to be the best. Welcome to Division II, where the pursuit is yours to create. And the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
J.D. Urso leading it off here as we begin the bottom of the fourth inning. 3-3 the score, Garrett. And neither team has had that big inning that we've talked about, the ability for both of these offenses to do, but they've grinded out at bats and they've put runs up on the scoreboard here early.
Yeah, we'll see if Riggins can get through a clean inning here. He's never, been in a lot of trouble, but he's been in enough where he's given up 3 runs.
And we mentioned, and Garrett, you and me joked as we went to break last time out that, I'd said Riggins, he's pretty used to throwing 100 pitches, and then I think I made the comment while we were away, he eats 100 pitches for breakfast. This guy gets deep into games, and if you're a coach, that's exactly what you want to see out of your ace, your prime-time pitcher in your rotation.
Yeah, leading off this tournament, you're maybe feeling a bit of nerves as it's the regionals, but you just came out of, playing in the Gulf South Conference Championship last week, and certainly that should help settle down these Delta State players. Riggins not liking that ball for some reason. He's asked for a new one. Missed on those last couple pitches.
Riggins, and this is just a great example of how he pitches on the mound. He threw game 1 in that Gulf South Conference Championship and then would come back for another game on short rest and threw 7 innings again, and then ultimately throwing game 1 down here in Pensacola, through 22 2/3 innings pitched in that Gulf South Conference tournament across 3 starts. About 2 weeks there, but those first 2 starts very close together.
You're a little bit concerned maybe about the arm health of these young guys. We see, Tommy John's injuries and burnout from some of these guys. But, they want to be out there on the mound. That's the tough thing is, we would hope these guys would be able to avoid the injuries from some excessive action there.
Well, and Garrett, I know you're doing the game this evening with me between Shorter and University of West Florida, and we'll talk about this during that broadcast, but, Wes Timmons for Shorter University sitting over there kind of scouting this game, but he's got some interesting pitching philosophies, and he allows his guys to go deep into games, and he's even got some guys that perhaps he said in a tournament like this you might see throw 120 pitches in the first game and then throw 40 in game 2. So we'll see. I mean, at the end of the year, you kind of put it all on the line, and, you'll see what happens at that point.
That's tough. It's definitely, maybe more relaxing for me if the guy's not being looked at by scouts, but he's a good pitcher. If he's maybe not concerned about going to the next level with his career, you kind of say, this is what I have. I'm going to give it my all here right at the end of the season.
Riggins,
he's thrown battle here by Urso.
He's thrown over 100 pitches 9 times this year, and he's done it in his last 6 outings. He's gone 112 a couple of times. His season high is, we count, it's 115 on the year. So, normally you're looking at how do you get through about 6-7 innings with 90 pitches, and that's where that math of 12 comes from. But Riggins, he's perhaps working with a little different math there, Garrett, allowing him to get deeper into these games.
Yeah, and that's fine, especially if he's done a good job, building up his arm strength over the course of the season. We're not early in the season, right? So you should have, with these games being now over a week apart, he's had quite a bit of rest. So that wouldn't be too much of a surprise to see him go for quite a few today.
Grounder up the middle. Sargent on the run. He'll make the throw in time to get Urso at the bag at first. And out in the inning. And Garrett, this is something interesting in this game. We've yet to see a 1-2-3 inning through 4 innings.
I was looking at that as well. There have been, 6, 4, 5 batters for Riggins. Hall has faced 4, 5, 4, 6. So not excessively long innings, but enough where scratching some runs across.
Well, and I think even last inning for Hunter Riggins was evidence. He faced 5 batters, gives up that run, but it was only 11 pitches in the inning because Tampa attacking these first pitches. Yeah. You're right, too. It was Earhart and Cumbo, who would come in to score on the RBI singles by Lyons and Sullivan.
Riggins maybe isn't throwing a lot of high-stress pitches necessarily, and so that's, allowing him to be able to, kind of maybe ease back on some of these pitches that he's able to throw and then, extend some of that arm life, if you will.
And for Riggins, he's, maybe, as you would say, one of those wily veterans. He clearly knows how to pitch out there. He's made a living getting deep into games. So he's one guy that I would tend to believe knows how to manage his effort throughout a game so that he still does have those good pitches late in the game and perhaps an eighth, maybe even in the ninth inning.
Yeah, definitely. You kind of know how you felt. I mean, he's thrown 109 innings this year, so he's definitely got a good handle on how he's going to feel as the game progresses. 15 starts this year, and we've seen him, as you mentioned, over the last several starts, be able to go deep into the game.
That one will miss outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes with 1 out. The 8-hole hitter, the catcher, Mcdonald, batting. He grounded out to second in his first plate appearance of the day. It came back in the second. 3-2 now.
A couple of the pitches real close in this at-bat. You see D's trying to frame those on the outside corner, but home plate umpire Bobby Dunnigan having none of that.
Garrett, and maybe even for you who's watching, it's tough to see, but the one thing I love about Hunter Riggins, he always has a smile on his face out there on the mound. He's just having fun out there playing baseball.
I love that.
Walk issued there, and Tampa will have a base runner.
Loves the battle there. Both Urso and McDonald seeing quite a few pitches in their at-bats here to start the fourth.
That brings up Jose Cadenas.
Maybe we'll finally see that double play combo for Delta State that we've talked about so far. That would get Riggins out of this inning with just facing the 3 batters.
Cadenas singling in his first plate appearance back in the second. He then stole a bag. It was his 5th stolen base of the season, I believe, if I'm correct. I think he leads the team in that category with 5 stolen bases on the season, but stealing second. And on that steal, there was that throwing error by Dees that got him to third, but then ultimately stranded as Winkelmeier, who's on deck, grounded out.
Riggins, we mentioned Paul's ability to throw first pitch strikes. Not the same case for Riggins. Only 7 first pitch strikes to the 18th batter he's facing here now. Only 7 of those he's started with a strike. And so we see the pitching coach now coming out to have a little chat.
We're going to have a mound visit here. 3-3 the score, 2-0 count, and 1 out, a runner on first base after the walk issued to McDonald. Garrett, I don't know if you caught that, but on that last throw back to the mound by Dees, Riggins barehanded that one. He just grabbed it out of midair.
He's a little frustrated. He's gone. He does have a rosin bag out there. I might think each pitcher is providing their own rosin bag.
That actually is this year due to COVID. Each team, they're required to bring their own rosin bag out there. Most of these pitchers, they each have their own. So, a little different. You're used to just seeing that one behind the mound.
He's gone to that rosin bag several times. We saw him wiping his hand in the first inning. He's tossed some balls out of play that he hasn't felt comfortable with. So I'm wondering if there's some type of grip issue. He's missed a couple fastballs high there.
Those pitchers, Garrett, and I know you were one of them back in the day, they're an interesting breed.
Well, they need everything comfortable. They need to be in their rhythm. It looks like Riggins is a bit out of his rhythm here in this inning, having to throw so many pitches to those first couple batters.
And Garrett, I know, being a pitcher in college, you've been through many a mound visits. What is oftentimes said? I mean, what can you really adjust in the middle of a game out there on the mound?
Sometimes you just need to be forced to breathe. You just made a bad pitch. You want to get back up there and make another one really quick. And you just need the coach, the catcher, to come out and say, hey, man, you got this. You're our ace. Let's bring it right back here.
He gets a strike there. 3-1 the count now with 1 out. You don't want to walk this hitter here because then that would put 2 runners on with the lineup about to come up.
Yeah, top of the lineup, rolling back around. Cadenas here looking to get on base.
Cadenas, ground ball up the middle, might have a chance at a double play. Barlow over to first in time. And the nation's leader in double plays they turn another one right there. And we see our first 1-2-3 inning of this ball game with that runner out at second base. 3-3 the score. We're headed to the 5th here in Pensacola as these two teams locked in a battle here at Jim Spooner Field.
This is the University of Tampa. Explore your dreams. Discover your talents. Get ready to invent, innovate, and be a leader. This is the University of Tampa.
Being a champion takes more than talent, more than the perfect pass, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the spirit to always push harder, the ability to overcome any hurdle, and the fire to be the best. Welcome to Division II, where the pursuit is yours to create. And the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
Well, just over an hour and 15 minutes to get through 4 innings, Garrett. Both these pitchers working quickly early on, despite 6 runs being scored combined for the two teams.
Yeah, it definitely, I think, helps out your defense a lot when you're pitching quickly, when you're working quickly. We've seen batters step out a couple times, call time as a pitcher's about ready to pitch, just because they need that little bit of a breath themselves, try to throw these pitchers off the rhythm that it seems like both of them are in pretty quickly.
You know what else helps pitchers, Garrett? Inning-ending ground ball double plays. What a weapon it is for Delta State with how good that middle infield is at turning double plays in the first now 1-2-3 inning of the ball game.
Yeah, definitely helpful there. We saw the pitching coach come out after he had gone down 2-0 there to the 9-hole hitter and able to get that pitch down in the zone, grounded into that double play.
0-1 pitch there as Paul starts him off with a first pitch strike. White in his first at-bat flew out to center field. That one hit hard and then would strike out swinging in the third. Batting for the third time today. Garrett, we hear the age-old adage about how does a pitcher pitch the third time through the lineup. And Paul, I think it was a fairly successful first couple of trips through the lineup, but you never know against a team like Delta State. I do feel like they've hit the ball hard today, just a couple of times right at players.
Yeah, we'll definitely see if he has something else to mix in or if he's able to. Oh,
that one hit high and far.
Yeah.
And way gone. Hayden White has homered. Hayden White waves goodbye baseball. And Delta State back-to-back innings with a solo home run. They'll take a 4-3 lead as Hayden White hammers that one to left.
Yeah, he saw a pitch. Boy, that looked about middle that he was able to turn on and really got a good piece of that out too, where, we mentioned that wind blowing across and out to left here.
The home run by White, his 11th on the season. He was 7th in the Gulf South Conference this year with those 10 home runs. Now 11, his first home run since the 9th of May against Alabama Huntsville, a team that'll play next here today. And Delta State perhaps starting to get to Michael Paul here late in this game.
They've swung at a lot of pitches. I kind of feel like that's why we're able to see so many first pitch strikes out of Paul, is because they've been swinging at a lot of first pitches. But, you're able to definitely set the tempo against this pitcher that you're up there looking to hit, and he's going to have to kind of nibble.
That one just in off the corner and called a strike.
Umpire asks him to step back in to the box.
Not sure I've ever seen that before.
No, he kind of looked back at the umpire frustrated, thought either he checked his swing or the ball was out of the zone. Oh,
and that one plunks him in the helmet.
He had thrown a couple of pitches inside there and thankfully able to kind of duck, and it was more of a glancing blow potentially off the helmet. Umpire jumps out there quickly as, you're kind of frustrated as a pitcher, them coming inside on you several times. Thankfully, it looks to be okay.
And you have to realize in a situation, there's no intent whatsoever on that one. That perhaps on a hot day, Garrett, you've mentioned the sweat a couple times with the pitcher. You know, the balls out here, there's not a lot of grip if you've never held a baseball before. They have the seams there, but you know, there's not a lot of grip. And you know, Garrett, we even saw this the other day. There's oftentimes pitchers, they love to find ways to, you know, add a little bit of grip to baseballs, and we saw that happen yesterday in the Cardinals game. But oftentimes you'll even see, I've heard a concoction of rosin and sunscreen. Sometimes it helps you get a little bit better grip on the baseball. You saw Paul lose a grip right there.
Yeah, the Bullfrog, I think it is sunscreen that the pros like to use. Just kind of on that other arm, you get kind of a mixture. I think he was just trying to pitch inside a little bit there. I think they even switched maybe out the baseball there after that hit by pitch.
But I do have to admit, as a batter, you don't like anything up near the head, especially one that grazes the helmet. It's not a good feeling.
No, you get worried a little bit. You definitely want the pitchers to be able to control, as those baseballs hurt a little bit. Paul maybe even shaken up, you know, after giving up that homer, now hitting a batter. Pitching coach came out trying to settle him down, get him back into the swing of things here. Unable to find the strike zone yet here against Dendy after starting with 2 strikes to White, or to Trahan.
Delta State, they've scored a run in the second, the third, the fourth, and the fifth, one apiece. And the last 2 innings, Garrett, lead-off home runs by Jake Barlow and Hayden White.
Yeah, they've got another runner on here with nobody out, so they'll try to keep the line moving.
Blake Dendy skies one into right. Cumbo on, he'll make the play in shallow right field for the first out of the inning. With 1 out, that brings up Jake Barlow, who led off last inning with a home run, his 18th of the season. And Garrett, that one was a no-doubter into the power alley in left field, just shy of that batting cage out there.
Yeah, he definitely put a charge into that last one. He'll be looking to feast again here if Paul puts something in his wheelhouse. Off speed.
And that's a great job there by the pitcher. You know what he hammered you on last time. You make the adjustment right there, and clearly he was thinking the same type of thing right there, but able to, by Paul, to get that across. Yeah,
I'm a little frustrated maybe with Dendy swinging on the 2-0 pitch there. Maybe he thought it was a good one right down the middle. But the pitcher was, you know, a bit off his game after having hit the last batter and throwing the first 2 pitches as balls. You see the same thing there from Barlow, maybe coming out a little bit too aggressive on that first pitch breaking ball. Just, you know, make Paul work a little bit.
Garrett, I think this stat, and an assist by Craig Sigdington for Delta State, I think this stat rings loud perhaps in this game. And in games where Delta State, they've hit 2 home runs, which they've now done as we're still working here in the 5th, 12-6 on the season. They've lived and died by the home run, and they kind of died last week, and it was because the wind was so great here at Jim Spooner Field. But today, the ball carrying, they've hit a couple, and that's perhaps ominous for Tampa.
Yeah, Tampa's going to need to keep pace with this Delta State offense that puts up the runs. We've got time called here. Just some tape readjustment here from the catcher.
Perhaps, you know, sometimes when you use that tape that players like to put on their wrist, I've been there before playing high school baseball, and the sweat gets to it before, you know, you lose the stickiness, and, you know, you gotta change tape or get new tape.
Unwrapped a little bit there. I saw it kind of hanging off, and it was finally a
ball and 2 strikes.
Finally time to get it cut by the trainer there.
You know, Garrett, we mentioned that 12-6 when hitting 2 home runs. I think the one thing you can say, and you even mentioned it early on in this game with looking at some of Tampa's stats this season, it is a very small sample size this year. I mean, teams like Delta State and some of these other teams normally by this time of year would have played well north of 50 games. But, Tampa only playing in their 21st game here today, and Delta State just in their 47th. You never know how some of those, statistics like I just gave will play out in a game like this.
Yeah, you'd like to see Delta State continue to add on here. Runner on first with nobody out, now 1 out. And Barlow showing some good patience after maybe a bad swing on that first pitch.
That home run earlier by Barlow extending his hitting streak to 3 games, and an on-base streak now up to 11. He's 1 for 2 in this game. His 18th home run and 60th RBI on that solo home run to lead off the 4th. There goes the runner. He starts and stops, and a walk issued. And Delta State, they'll have a pair on with just 1 out. And Wyatt Pratt coming up to bat.
Interesting. You maybe think the catcher, it looked like it was close to a competitive pitch. You'd like to maybe frame that as a catcher, but then the runner's going with only 1 out, so you've got to think about potentially throwing him out. So you maybe don't get the frame on it that you'd like to try to give the umpire something to think about.
And Garrett with that walk issued right there, my first thought as a broadcaster is take a peep down to the bullpen and see who perhaps is warming as Paul's pitch count is climbing. I look down there, and there's no one anywhere near the bullpen.
Yeah, we had a mound visit earlier that, maybe telling Paul, look, we're going to ride you here for this first game. We need to make sure that we save the bullpen as they're a little bit thin down there, and so you need to come out here and start making some competitive pitches.
Well, and head coach Joe Urso, he's done this a time or two before, 5-time national champion, and he was very transparent yesterday and, kind of telling me their pitching plan, and that you need guys like Paul to go deep into games, and that allows you to perhaps turn it over to a guy like Jordan Leisure, as we actually see a couple of players running down there. It looks like we will get a pitcher warming for Tampa here. That pitch will miss outside. 3-0 the count. Garrett, do you consider giving him the green light right here?
I would not, just because I really don't think he's made a good pitch since hitting Trahan a couple batters ago. He has thrown 1 called strike against Barlow, but I'd have the red light.
And Rodney Batts thinking along with you.
All right.
Strike called there by Paul as he was able to.
It was a good pitch, right? It wasn't, even if Pratt had the green light, it wasn't a pitch to swing at. It wasn't something in your hot zone that you're teeing off.
I've heard it described on that 3-0 pitch that you're looking for something in a zone about the size of a shoebox, and if you find it, you swing, but if not, you just, wait for another offering. That one will catch the outside corner. Pratt thought he had worked a walk right there.
It did look on the outside corner for sure, and that time the call goes to Tampa.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Runners on first and second. It's Trahan on second and Barlow at first. Josh Schmelzer, he had a resounding double off the wall early on in this game. He looms on deck. That one will miss outside.
Definitely outside.
As Josh Schmelzer comes to the plate, he will have the bases loaded here with 1 out.
Right, it looked like Pacerella, 13, was headed down to the bullpen there. Junior right-handed pitcher. You've already used a mound visit from the pitching coach this inning, so we'll have to see if he's able to take some more time here to let that reliever get loosened up.
Bases loaded, and a spot here for Delta State to perhaps break this one open.
Back out of the windup for Paul here again. Just missed low. Not throwing first pitch strikes this inning. Paul potentially laboring. I mean, if he hasn't thrown, he's thrown the inter-squad games as you talked about, but if he hasn't thrown in maybe a month in a game, maybe a bit of concern there.
Schmelzer, he's doubled and walked in this game. Been stranded on third both times. Fouls that one off to the right side. On the season, a .297 hitter. That average was up in the mid-300s before that cold stretch up in Oxford and further down here last week in Pensacola. So a very talented hitter right here that if you're Paul, you have to be careful with.
Yeah, Schmelzer looking for something. It looks like he's a nice high ball hitter. fouling off a couple challenging pitches there.
And if you're Paul now, Garrett, in this situation, you're thinking one thing, get the strikeout. Yeah. You need a strikeout right here.
Yeah, maybe you could have something on the ground. Both corners are playing, I guess the third baseman's about halfway, but first baseman playing behind the runner there. Maybe looking for a double play. Certainly that would be the best outcome, even better than that strikeout would be a double play to get out of this bases loaded situation.
And Schmelzer, he's a big dude, 6'1", 220 at the plate, so you have to question, on a ground ball, how quickly is he going to get down the line? I think the other question out here, Garrett, for Delta State is with Hayden White at first base. Actually, check that Kirkland Trahan over there. Do you consider, the contact play? You're trying to score another run here, and it looks like we're going to get a pitching change.
Oh, interesting. Not even waiting for this plate appearance.
On the ball and 2-strike pitch, we're getting a pitching change here. Head coach Joe Urso going to his pen. 4-3 the score. We're going to step away as the new pitcher comes in. We'll be back to introduce him when we return. And as we welcome you back here at Jim Spooner Field, new pitcher alert. Alex Pacerella making just, Garrett, his second appearance of the season here, and he enters with a ball and 2 strikes. You don't oftentimes see a coach go to his bullpen and account like that, but enters in a massive spot here with the bases loaded.
Yeah. As Tampa, you're still in this game. The bases are loaded, but it's only 4-3, right? You'd love to get out of here unscathed, be able to hang around, and your offense that's put a couple runs on the board be able to do some more damage.
A ball and 2 strikes as Alex Pacerella enters, and I don't think this is what that is, but sometimes you have to wonder, was there an injury or was there, him just not feeling good out on the mound? Because you don't see someone go to their bullpen in the middle of a count. Head coach Joe Urso, though, doing it here in a massive spot. Pacerella, the junior out of Howard Beach, New York, another New Yorker. Went to Xaverian High School, and he's an entrepreneurship major. He enters this game. He went an inning, gave up a run in that inning. That outing coming against Lynn back on the 15th of April. First pitch, and that one off the catcher. Delta State going to get a run. Kirkland Trahan slides in safely. And Trahan, he got banged up on that time around. He got hit by the pitch and then colliding with Pacerella at the plate. But Delta State, they lead 5-3.
Yeah. Happy to get the strikeout. Unfortunate with the, I'm not sure if we'll score that a wild pitch or a pass ball. It was in the dirt, right? But you'd love to be able to block that up as a catcher because there's no throw to make there. You don't have to throw a runner out anywhere with a runner on first.
Delta State, they'll have a 5-3 lead here. And Garrett, that must have was obviously a swing and a miss there. That was a strikeout on that pitch.
Yes.
So we missed that. Now 2 outs in the inning and runners on second and third.
Right, yeah, that's where I was saying. If you can just block that ball, you don't have to throw the runner out trying to go to first as you would, with nobody on first. So kind of unfortunate there. Still, you've only given up 2 runs. Get the third out here and live to play another inning.
Garrett, here's an interesting question for you. Obviously, it was Paul who started off the count. So who gets the strikeout there officially? I think it's Pacerella, but that's an interesting.
I need someone with more experience keeping a book to tell me that answer.
A ball and a strike there with 2 outs. The final line on Michael Paul, 4 1/3 innings pitched. He gives up 6 hits, walked 4, struck out 4. That run coming in to score a moment ago, he was responsible for that run. Now 5 runs allowed in this contest for Paul, and 2 more still looming on the base paths. Sargent unable to check his swing, and the count will move to a ball and 2 strikes.
Good little slider there, I think, from Pacerella. Able to keep Sargent out in front. Tried to check his swing, but might have been a strike anyway.
And if you're Tampa, this is a huge pitch in this game.
Yeah.
You don't want to let this score start to get away from you.
Keep it close. You've been able to tack on a couple runs. And
Alex Pacerella making just his 2nd appearance of the season. He comes on in a dangerous spot and strikes out the only 2 batters he faces. But Delta State, they scored 2 in the 5th. They scored 1 in the 2nd, 1 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th, and now a 2 spot here in the 5th. They'll take a 5-3 lead into the bottom of the 5th inning here at Jim Spooner Field.
And after that, we can go to the moves about 7. Round it. Is it me or is that uncle kind of freaking you out?
In NCAA Division II, community engagement is an initiative at all 25 national championships because student athletes want to give back while competing for a national title. Over the course of the year, Division II student athletes have an opportunity to leave a lasting impression in local communities throughout the country. Whether Division II student athletes are volunteering at hospitals, schools, after-school care programs, foster homes, or retirement villages, they make a difference in the lives of others. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
Garrett, we're in the midst of the Stanley Cup playoffs in hockey, and to use a little hockey reference right there, I think Pacerella he came into that game and stood on his head right there. A couple of strikeouts there in a massive spot. He gives up that run on that wild pitch, but other than that, making just his 2nd appearance of the season, that's a huge spot in this game.
Yeah, definitely being able to come in. You gotta like your chances, keeping the game close. Riggins, though, able to get that first pitch strike.
The final line on Michael Paul. He gives up 5 runs today. He goes 4 1/3 innings before handing over the reins to Alex Pacerella, who'd pick up a couple of strikeouts.
Riggins dropped down a little bit, I think. A little, maybe sidearm action, if I was watching correctly.
Just messing around a little bit.
Yeah. He wants to have fun, right? We see him smiling out there on
we
the
definitely
mound.
have. He faces the leadoff hitter, Winkelmeier, here, and as we saw Michael Paul run into some troubles that 3rd time through the lineup, now Riggins will face this Tampa lineup for the 3rd time.
That's true. That 3rd time through the lineup ended up biting Paul. There, gave up the home run, hit a batter, ended up giving up 2 runs in that inning.
The left-handed swinging Winkelmeier watches a strike 3 call right there, Riggins.
A couple batters haven't liked that corner call from home plate umpire Bobby Dunnigan, but that's about at least the 3rd one I've seen on that corner that batters have been a little frustrated with.
The 2nd strikeout of the outing for Hunter Riggins. It's the first out here in the 5th inning. His last strikeout came all the way back in the 1st inning.
Well, he's finally getting warmed up now, right? We see him getting deeper into that pitch count. Drop down a little bit, I think, again there on that opening pitch. So just something new the 3rd time through the lineup. You want to give these batters something else to think about.
That one shot down the left side. Will it get into the corner? It will not. Dendy cuts it off. But Cumbo showing some good speed there, and he'll leg out a double here with one out.
If Dendy had been able to come up with that cleanly, he was definitely trying to keep Cumbo from stretching that into a double, but just unable to field it cleanly. And it should just be, there's no error scored there.
Blake Dendy, as we've already talked about when he was up to bat, he's a big dude over there in left field, and you saw him kind of go into that slide to try to keep that ball from getting to the fence.
You like that little pop-up slide, maybe, and he was able to keep it from getting to the fence, definitely, but just unable to force Cumbo into a tight play there at second.
One out in the inning and a runner in scoring position for Earhart. Earhart, the 3-hole hitter today, entered hitting .306. And
big hole on the right-hand side here. Look at Barlow playing way over there, covering the runner. Oh.
And that one off the glove of the catcher. And Garrett, we thought the last one might have been a pass ball. I think that one will be.
Yeah. And you saw good work there by the hitter in the dugout, helping the runner out there. Cumbo kind of froze, unable to see that got past, but good communication. He's able to take third on that pass ball.
And as if we hadn't seen enough runs scored already in this game, Tampa right back in a spot now with a guy on third.
Yeah, infield playing back up the middle. And there's that corner again that Riggins just manages to catch.
Earhart with the double in that third inning. He's now hit safely in 12 games this season. He's had 4 multi-hit performances, including 2 of his last 4 games. A hit here would give him his third in the last 5. It would cut into this Statesman lead.
Off-speed pitch just off the corner there. Moves it to a hitter's count. Let's see what Earhart can do with it.
He led the team in hits last year for Tampa before the season was cut short. Grounds to second. That'll get a run in.
Playing back there, that's fine. You've got a 2-run lead. Make sure you get that out, obviously.
Garrett, this Tampa team, they've had 4 RBIs in today's game, and 3 of the 4 have come on groundouts. A great job of situational hitting right there, of just putting the ball in play with runners on third and just getting that run in.
Yeah, I guess thinking about all the double plays they've turned, maybe Riggins has a little bit of downward movement on some of his pitches that's causing them to just get on top.
Hard hit into the hole, but Derek Sargent there on the backhand, the throw across the diamond in time for the third out of the inning. But Tampa, they strike again. 5-4 the score. We're headed to the 6th inning here in Pensacola on the UWF Sports Network. As we return, the score 5-4 in favor of the Statesmen. Delta State, can they keep their streak alive? They've scored in 4 consecutive innings after being held scoreless in the first inning. But Tampa, they've hung around, and this game has been back and forth all day.
Yeah, they'll come to the plate here against Pacerella, who came into the game and really took care of the job there, striking out the 2 hitters he was able to face.
5-4 the score. For the Statesmen, 5 runs, 6 hits, and an error. And for the Spartans, 4 runs, 6 hits, and no errors. Did see, though, that pass ball in the last inning by Delta State that allowed Tampa to get that run, an unearned run charge to Riggins.
Yeah, got the runner from second over to third, which, otherwise a ground ball gets him to third but doesn't get him in. Unfortunate there.
5-4 the score as we begin the 6th inning. If you're Delta State, you're in the spot you wanted to put yourself in. When we got this game started, you wanted to have a lead late, and you wanted to still have Riggins out on the mound. Both of these teams, the bullpen shaky at best for both teams. And, for Tampa, you've been forced to go to your bullpen earlier than perhaps you wanted to. But Pacerella, a couple of big strikeouts to end last inning.
Yeah, we'll see what he has here, working through some more hitters. Certainly facing the bottom of the lineup here, the 7-8 and now the 9 hitter. We'll see as he goes back and faces the real teeth of this Delta State lineup at the top, what he has to offer.
Cade Dees, he's flown out to center and singled. His 3rd plate appearance here to lead off the 6th inning. Chad Raglan looming on deck. Feels like the wind's picking up here a bit, Garrett.
Yeah. We'll see if that ends up affecting the fly balls have already been carrying, so I'm not sure what more we'll see there.
Oh, swing and a miss there. Blocked by Mcdonald behind the plate. He'll throw down to get his fellow catcher at first base for the first out here in the 6th inning. Dees now just 1 for 3 in the game. 3rd strikeout and 3 batters for Pacerella. The throw down to first. Scores 2-3 for the first out of the inning. That'll turn over the lineup. 4th time through the batting order for Delta State. It was a successful 3rd time through the order. They picked up a couple more runs, picked up several hits. What can they do here the 4th time through?
Well, they first need to try to put the ball in play here against Pacerella, who has 3 strikeouts through his 3 batters faced.
Raglan, a transfer from Florida State College in Jacksonville, Florida. Prior to the 2020 season, he was a National Junior College Athletic Association All-American during his 2 seasons there. Started 23 games in the outfield in 2020 for this Delta State team before the season ultimately cut short.
Oh, I had almost marked down a ball there on my score sheet before the umpire called strike 2.
A moment ago, the SID for Alabama Huntsville, Stan Baldwin, made his way up here to the booth, and it was Raglan who up in Oxford ended for momentarily Huntsville's tournament, a walk-off single up the middle late in that game to give Delta State the victory in that winner-take-all game that ultimately propelled them to play West Florida last week here in Pensacola. Raglan having himself a good season, hitting over 300 on the campaign.
Huntsville playing the 2nd game this afternoon.
They'll play Lee.
Against Lee, right.
That game first pitch scheduled, I believe, at 3 p.m. if I remember correctly. And then, we'll see the number 1 team in the nation later on this evening. Garrett is, West Florida playing on their home field. The first time that they've done that in a NCAA regional since 2011, the year that they would go on to win their lone national championship in program history. But they'll be taking on a very scrappy, a very tough, shorter squad with a good pitching staff.
Raglan just getting a piece of that one, fouling it straight back. Yeah, UWF, I assume that the best team in the region is the host for these. It doesn't just rotate through, or is it?
No, actually, it's a bid type thing. So
Okay.
So teams they bid, they send in their bids to the NCAA, and from what I've been told, a lot of times as we see the pitch come and fouled off yet again, a lot of times the NCAA they try to look for locations that are kind of located. In the midst of all the teams that will be participating. Sometimes, it does go to that top seed, but not necessarily always the case.
Okay. I mean, obviously it's a benefit to not have to travel, to be familiar with the confines, and to be comfortable not having to travel.
Garrett, I stand corrected there. We got a little bit of information, and normally it is the top seed that hosts, but this year due to the COVID year and maybe trying to eliminate some travel, there was bids put in. So you are correct.
I was asking. I don't know if I wanted to be called correct, but I like it. As we saw a second out there of the inning.
Raglan striking out, looking. So far, Pacerella, what an outing. Making just his second appearance of the year, and he struck out all 4 batters he's faced.
Were we wrong about the Tampa bullpen? I don't know. I'm just seeing one guy here, but
sample size. White, his second hit as he singles through the left side. He homered in his last plate appearance. Now picks up a single.
Yeah, I mean, I actually teach some statistics, and so that sample size is a big deal. Certainly you don't want to make large conclusions off of small samples. Pacerella having coming in with only an inning this year. But if you're pitching at the D2 level, you've probably got some experience, definitely at the high school level. You've definitely got some good pitchers available to you.
Fourth batter of the inning now up, Kirkland Trahan batting. He has singled and been hit by a pitch and sandwiched in between, a ground out to short that drove in a run. He comes up with a runner on first base as Delta State, they've scored in the last 4 innings, trying to keep that streak alive here.
Yeah, Trahan looking to get some revenge for that hit by pitch up and in his last at bat. Down quickly, though, 0-2.
Pacerella, those 4 strikeouts since entering. 3 of them have been swinging, and the last of Raglan looking. That was a lengthy at-bat, an 8-pitch at-bat for Raglan. 0-2 pitch upcoming. 6 batters faced, 5 strikeouts. Alex Pacerella, have yourself a day out of the bullpen. And he keeps this game at just a 1-run game. It's the first time since the first inning that Delta State has been unable to score. We're going to head to the bottom of the 6th inning. And
this is the University of Tampa. Explore your dreams. Discover your talents. Get ready to invent, innovate, and be a leader. This is the University of Tampa.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor.
It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
Bottom of the 6th inning, a 5-4 lead for Delta State, and the catcher Sullivan coming to the plate.
Riggins back out there. As expected, right?
As expected. Not even a mice stirring down in that Delta State bullpen, and on the first pitch, Sullivan skies one into shallow left. Sargent back, called off by Dendy. That one got interesting for a moment, but Blake Dendy
broke back. It looked like maybe didn't see it really well off the bat, but hung up there quite a while. Looked like the shortstop, Sargent, might have even had a play if he hadn't been called off.
I got to admit, if I'm Derek Sargent and I'm going back on that, and you've got the freight train coming in from left field, I don't even need to be called off to get out of the way.
Oh, yeah. It's a little bit nerve-wracking. You work on that communication the whole year, and it worked out okay there.
Luke Glancy picking up his third plate appearance of the day. He's flown out to left and grounded out to first. 0 for 2 today.
He wants a new baseball.
Entered with a .286 batting average on the season. It's dropped down to .267. Entered with a 3-game hitting streak. 6-game on-base streak that he's putting on the line here today against Delta State. And so far, Hunter Riggins, he's given up 4 runs, 3 of them earned, but he's done what he's needed to do out there on the mound, and that's give Delta State innings and keep them in the lead.
He's even been relatively efficient as well. 75 pitches, give or take, coming into this 6th inning. Manages to put a strike across there to Glancy. Strike 2. Not sure if the batter offered or if it was just able to catch that corner.
Garrett, we've seen a lot of confused looks from batters out here, but I'll be honest, from my vantage point up here, it feels like it's been a fairly consistent strike zone all day. That pitch on the inside or outside corner to the right-hander has been called routinely. That one shot down into the corner, misplayed by Dendy, but the runner forced to hang up at second. It's a double with 1 out for Luke Glancy. It extends his hitting streak to 4 and that on-base streak up to 7.
Nice work there by Glancy. He didn't obviously like that strike call, but stayed in the bat, didn't let that get the better of him, and drove that fastball out to left field. I don't know even if Dendy had played that one cleanly, if he would have been able to get Glancy going into second, although you saw him with a little bit of a fumble out there again. Riggins now going out to work from the stretch against J.D. Urso.
Urso, his 3rd plate appearance, he's grounded out to second and short. Up here in a spot to drive in a run, J.D. Urso, the son of head coach Joe Urso. He attended H.B. Plant High School in Tampa, Florida. He led his team to a district championship while at H.B. Plant. We've seen a lot of runs put up in this game, but no one's really done it in bunches yet.
No.
We've seen a lot of 1s sprinkled across and a couple of 2 spots in the 3rd and the 5th inning, but other than that, a lot of just 1-run innings. Both of these teams really grinding here today.
You can kind of credit both the hitters for scratching those runs across and the pitchers for grinding to make sure it's not any worse than that. Oh no,
that one will scoot through, and Tampa going to retie the game on the RBI single by J.D. Urso, his 11th RBI of the year. And this game, as if it could be anything else, back tied here at Jim Spooner Field.
Right, we should have expected that. It looks like there is somebody down in the Delta State pen throwing a little bit now. Looks like a lefty. Both of them look like they're mostly casually throwing, but we do have a little bit of movement down there.
An RBI single by Urso. He now has 8 games this season with an RBI.
That hard pack out in front of home plate maybe making a little bit of a difference there, as, man, a couple of them just out of the reach.
We'll get a pinch hitter here for the catcher Mcdonald behind the plate. It'll be John Malcolm, who pinch hits. Malcolm on the season, a .316 hitter.
Riggins not letting that chop single get the better of him. Back working out of the stretch, makes the first pitch strike.
Malcolm, a sophomore out of Detroit, Michigan. And Garrett, you're going to love this. He's a transfer from the Vanderbilt University. Played a couple of seasons there before making his way here to the University of Tampa. I've been told this guy has a lot of power. He has the ability to send one out in a hurry. Just 4 home runs this season, though, and again, limited sample size, 21 RBIs. He's hit safely in 12 of the 18 games he's played in.
See if he can put a good swing on Riggins. Again, only a couple hard hit balls against Riggins today, but they've done enough to, tack on 5 runs.
And Garrett, we talked in the pregame about the left-handers that Joe Urso is blessed with, both in his starting lineup but also off the bench. And perhaps sniffing a little bit of blood right here. Riggins maybe towards the end of his outing. You've got some, relievers warming down there, so you go to your big left-handed bat here in a big spot and see if maybe he could get a hold of one.
Yeah, sure. You'd like to be able to, with only one out here, at least keep the line moving, giving Malcolm a chance. Riggins having to slow down a little bit here. That runner on second, the catcher has to put down some mixed signals. And so forcing Riggins to take a little bit of extra time where he's like to work quickly most of the day.
That one hit hard to first. Can they turn the double play? First to short and back to first. What a play there for Delta State, the nation's leader in double plays. They turn a dandy right there to get out of the inning. But Tampa, they score a run. It's 5-5. We're headed to the 7th inning here in Pensacola.
Hi, I'm Mark Emmert, president of the NCAA. At the NCAA, we know that readers become leaders. While the young men and women who play college sports may be tremendous athletes, each and every one of them is also a student pursuing a college degree. As a parent, you're your child's first and most important teacher. Encourage your kids to read daily. Start the habit early by reading with them when they're young. Then have them read to you for about 30 minutes a day when they get a little bit older. Reading prepares children for lifelong opportunity and allows them to create great mysteries and stories and explore the world through their own mind. Very few student athletes will go on to play sports professionally, which is why their education is so important. What they learn through reading and through the classroom prepares them for life after sports. So pick up a book and help set your kids on the path to opportunity.
Garrett, we're starting to see these teams pull levers here late in this game. We saw the pinch hitting opportunity there for John Malcolm. What a double play, though, to end that inning, a pitcher's best friend.
Yeah, definitely great play by the first baseman there. Came off from holding the runner, obviously, and just a one-hop, quick right to him, and able to scramble back. Sometimes the pitcher goes over and cover, but that was right there for the first baseman, 3-6-3.
The pinch hitter, Malcolm, had come in for the catcher, Mcdonald, so that'll mean we'll see a new catcher in this inning. It's Josh Rulai, the sophomore out of Riverview, Florida, back behind the plate. And Garrett, we've mentioned his name a couple of times already. We didn't know when we'd see him in this tournament, but head coach Joe Urso going to his best at the end of the bullpen, and Alex Leisure, who enters in a tie game here in the 7th inning.
Yeah, it's time to really lock down the Delta State offense, and you've got to keep it right here.
Leisure, a mid-90s fastball, and what a season it has been for the junior out of Tampa, Florida. A 26 and a third innings pitched. His ERA, .68 on the season, minuscule at best. Garrett, 42 strikeouts. He's only walked 3 batters.
That's pretty crazy to be able to come in and be that effective out of the bullpen. You're pounding the zone. You're getting ahead of hitters. You're not really even giving them a chance.
And Garrett, he's a pitcher, too, that's going to come in and get you bulk innings. I mean, the formula all season long has been for guys like, Paul to get you 7 innings, and then you turn it over to Jordan Leisure. Today the formula has been different, but ultimately don't, be surprised to see Leisure finish this game off.
Pacerella did a absolutely great job getting through there. We saw he only came in with 1 inning, but if you're pitching at the D2 level, you've got some effectiveness with your pitchers, and he was able to slow down Delta State and turn it over here to Leisure.
What an outing it was for him. 5 strikeouts across that inning and 2/3 of work. He gave up just 1 base runner. It was a single by White with 2 outs. Gary, you'll love this efficiency. He threw 26 pitches, 21 of them were for strikes.
Did he have 20? I had 22. I wonder if they counted maybe the first few pitches there on Schmelzer.
Yeah, possibly.
Okay.
Very
great,
efficient outing, though.
Looking, strike 3 there to Dendy, who, again, it was that corner that the guys have been a little maybe frustrated with this afternoon.
But as a pitcher, if you've seen that perhaps frustration all day long, and for a guy as talented as Alex Leisure out on the mound, you go straight for that spot. Actually, Jordan Leisure. I've been saying that wrong the entire time. I apologize.
It's a new battery here, and so, I would say maybe a bullpen guy coming in maybe hasn't paid quite the closest attention, but the catcher certainly would know to be going for that corner, but a new catcher as well. And yet they go for that corner. Maybe some advice from the coaching staff there.
Looked like I was perhaps combining Alex Pacerella and, Jordan Leisure on that name right there. 2 balls, 2 strikes here. Leisure again looking for another strikeout. He struck out the first batter he faced. Can he do it again?
We're going to see a lot of players this weekend, and we'll get names right as we can. That ball tattooed out to left center, looking up.
It's gone! Jake Barlow, his second
one.
home run. And that one even deeper than the first. He waves goodbye. Goodbye, baseball. And Delta State, they get to Tampa's best, and they lead by 1.
Yeah, that was, almost the same left center field spot, maybe about 20 feet further right. That one he did absolutely hammer. That one, you hate it as a pitcher. It's a 2-strike pitch. You've got to make sure that you're not giving him a meatball there to hit.
2 home runs in the game for Jake Barlow. And this one gives Delta State the lead. The 2 home runs today by the 5-hole hitter Barlow, his 18th and 19th respectively on the season. Both solo shots, but Garrett, wow, those balls have been hammered.
Yeah, he definitely took advantage of a mistake pitch there from Leisure. Leisure unfaced, though, comes back right away. Strike 1, strike 2 on that breaking ball now.
Jake Barlow, he was one of those players that faced this Tampa team in that Super Regional back in 2019 where Tampa would end Delta State's season, and some of these guys coming back with a vengeance here today.
Yeah, Delta State able to scratch into the lead 6-5. Kind of it looks to me more like a slurve here out of Leisure. It's got some sharp break at the end, but maybe a little bit more break than I'd expect from a slider.
That 2-home run game for Jake Barlow, his 5th of the season. The last time he did it was against Montevallo back on the 17th of April. And for a Delta State team that came to Pensacola last week and hit just 1 home run across 3 games, definitely a well-deserved reprieve here today. The wind dying down, and they have 3 home runs already.
Foul ball there, I believe, called by the third base umpire. Yeah, 3 home runs here for Delta State. It's been limiting, though, for Tampa because they've each been solo shots. So you hear 3 home runs. We heard the stat about Delta State being 12-6. But Tampa's right in this game. We'll see if Riggins comes back out here for the bottom of the 7th, assuming Leisure's able to hold Tampa close here.
Leisure misses 3 balls and 2 strikes. That one fisted, and what a play at first base. Sullivan had to climb the ladder on that one, but made the play.
it didn't come off quite as hot. It looked like he was waiting, and finally leaped up there to make the great backhanded stab.
Hey, in the box score, it's going to go out as a line out.
Yeah.
Leisure, a first team member in the Division II CCA Awards, announced yesterday. It was the Sunshine State Conference Pitcher of the Year this year. Although running into a home run there off the bat of Jake Barlow. And his team now trailing. Swings and misses right there. As we mentioned, it's been video game numbers all season long for Jordan Leisure on the mound.
Yeah, just able to throw a couple fastballs right there past Schmelzer.
On the 0-2 pitch, Schmelzer caught looking on the outside corner, and he knew it. That pitch been called all day. But Jake Barlow, the difference in the 7th inning, he pelts one to left center field, and Delta State again back into the lead, 6-5 as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. But before then, time to stretch here in Pensacola.
College sports.
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
A return to normal, and all we love about sports.
You've instilled resilience, focus, and selflessness in us. We've put those lessons to work.
We've found strength and unity in each other.
You continue to take us places we never imagined.
You bring out the best in us.
So when we look forward, we see the light at the end of the tunnel.
We see a better world for all of us.
And for college sports.
In NCAA Division II, community engagement is an initiative at all 25 national championships because student athletes want to give back while competing for a national title. Over the course of the year, Division II student athletes have an opportunity to leave a lasting impression in local communities throughout the country. Whether Division II student athletes are volunteering at hospitals, schools, after-school care programs, foster homes, or retirement villages, they make a difference in the lives of others. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
It'll be the 9-hole hitter, Jose Cadenas, leading it off here in the 7th inning. A rousing rendition there of Sweet Caroline. Garrett, I didn't get a chance to get out of my seat and stretch, but a good baseball game so far. 6-5 the score as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning.
Yeah, I like singing along with that chorus. But we'll get back to it here in the bottom of the 7th, see if Tampa can answer.
And Hunter Riggins back out there. That home run last inning, we checked in between innings, just the second home run that Jordan Leisure has allowed all year. The last back on April 3rd against Nova Southeastern.
Looks like Riggins changing out the ball there again. Pretty particular out there on the mound this afternoon, but he's worked reasonably effectively.
Still out there. He's now allowed 3 or more earned runs in 7 of his 16 starts this season. The 5 runs today, 4 of them earned. He's now allowed 15 earned runs across his last 5 starts. Riggins, we mentioned, he's gone 7 or more innings in 11 straight outings. He'd need to get a couple of outs here. Falls behind the first batter, though. Cadenas in this game so far, he singled and stole a base back in the first, and then would wrap into an inning-ending 6-4-3 ground ball double play. And Garrett, get this, there was a runner on first base at the time when that happened, but that was the only 1-2-3 inning in this entire ball game.
Yeah, these offenses good at least getting one of their guys each inning on base. Bermuda Triangle.
Ooh, and that one, did it drop? It did. Play at second,
Hustle.
Not in time. A hustle double there.
I'd say it has to be caught, but that's so tough. The second baseman battling the wind there as he goes back. outfielders playing deep because the ball's carrying, and just an unfortunate situation there for Riggins.
And now Tampa battling right back. They've got a runner in scoring position here, nobody out, and turning back over the lineup to Winkelmeier.
Riggins looks like he put his hand up to the dugout asking to stay in the game here. We'll see what the result is.
Out to talk with Riggins. Haven't seen a signal yet. Do have a pitcher warming down in the Statesman bullpen here. The score 6-5.
You know, he really hadn't had many leadoff runners on, although he's had a runner off on almost every inning. Only the third inning did that leadoff runner get on. But it is that runner on second, right? And we've seen him with some difficulty when a runner reaches second, being a little bit out of rhythm, having to receive extra signs.
But you've got Winkelmeier coming up or at the plate. The sophomore out of Sarasota, Florida, Garrett, just hitting 167 with runners in scoring position. So if you're Riggins and it looks like he's going to stay in this ball game, you'd love to get an out right here, and that perhaps changes some things for you.
Yeah, he's got the top of the lineup coming up, though. I saw a lefty down in the pen. You've got back-to-back lefties here. I would thought that might have been a good time if he was going to bring a lefty in.
Winkelmeier 0 for 3 off of the right-hander Riggins in this game. He's grounded out to second, and the pitcher in the second inning and struck out swinging in the fifth. 2 strikeouts in the outing for Hunter Riggins today, and the last coming back in the fifth inning.
Yeah, he's not a big strikeout guy coming in. I think it was 89 strikeouts in 109 innings, so less than 1 per inning.
They show bunt and pull back. A strike called on the outside corner. We've seen Tampa manufacture runs already today. Trying to do it again perhaps here. You get that bunt down, you get the runner to third with 1 out, and that gives you a great opportunity to score them.
Yeah, definitely Winkelmeier would like to help, although he's been ineffective yet today.
Garrett, I don't remember the exact stat, but I know you're a stats guy, and you'd appreciate this, but the age-old conversation, and even more so in the new age, is do you bunt the runner to third here? Because, you know, I think I want to say it's almost 80% of the time you get that runner in with nobody out from second, but if you bunt him over to third, you only get him in 60% of the time.
Right, so I think you would look at kind of the probability of the next several guys. Oh, hit him.
Hits him right there. The runner breaks for third, but it is a hit by pitch.
I'm not sure if he's saying foul ball or if he's saying...
I can't tell.
Looks like we're going to ask if the bat was across, and the umpires, it's good. I'm glad the umpires are getting together here. That's what you want to see. Everybody had kind of a different angle on the play.
If that was considered a foul ball, it was simply a self-preservation type of foul ball. That one hard in on him.
It wasn't fair play, though, but they did say it dead pretty quickly. And the second base umpire definitely came in very quickly and signaled foul ball.
As we mentioned, 4 umpires here today in these NCAA regionals. They're coming together. The trainer's out talking with Winkelmeier.
Yeah, he certainly is acting like it got off that hand. But
you never know. Maybe it hit the handle, and some guys you'll see him wrap that pinky around there.
It's his left hand. As a lefty, that would be the hand that's out on the barrel of the bat. And so, you've really got to kind of pinch it, make sure there's no hand out there. But if it's a swing and you get hit, it is a dead ball strike call. But with only 1 strike, it would be strike 2. So we're going to get an explanation here. Of course, I think the runner's going to have to go back to second either way, as they said that was a dead ball really quickly.
Home plate umpire Bobby Dunnigan explaining it to head coach Joe Urso. It would appear, if what they've called on the field is confirmed, it would be a foul ball, and that runner at third more than likely would have to go back to second.
Yeah, definitely would have to go back to second if that's the call on the field.
It's tough, though. It looked like you were going to have a hit by pitch, and potentially, I think even in that scenario, would the runner have had to go back to second or on the hit by pitch? I mean, you can advance on a hit by pitch.
No. Dead.
No, you can't?
Dead on a hit by pitch, for sure. Yeah.
Lengthy explanation going on here. Winkelmeier had squared around to bunt. Now Riggins gets a couple of warm-up tosses.
He wants to throw, man. It's like, yeah, he hasn't gotten his pitch count up quite high enough yet.
The discussion still going on down the third baseline.
Urso now nodding, potentially in agreement with what the umpires are at least saying they're calling. Now going to check on his guy, I think.
That runner at third base now sent back to second. So it is indeed what we thought. It's a foul ball at the plate, and the runner will go back to second base on that foul ball.
Yeah, unfortunately, now you've got 2 strikes on the hitter, right? So he's unable. I say unable to. You normally don't try to bunt with 2 strikes because if you bunt it foul, it would be strike 3. So we'll be interested here. You know, as a hitter, you're not going to be able to bunt. Just roll something over to the right side and get that runner over to third.
Joe Urso looking down the lineup card. It looks like he's considering, do I pull Nicholas Winkelmeier? Looks like maybe perhaps in some pain or maybe just having a conversation here, trying to figure out what they're going to do with 2 strikes.
Looks like he's asking to see if he can hold and swing a bat there. Certainly you're concerned about breaking a finger, dislocating a finger.
Coach Joe Urso trying to get a read on his second baseman.
Now it looks like he's telling him some strategy here at the end of that discussion about the injured.
It's interesting, Garrett. Do you put the bunt sign on again here with 2 strikes? That'd be a gutsy call.
How much do you trust him? He's a sophomore. This being his first full season, of course, I assume, with it being shortened last year.
And does potentially, he gets hit on the finger there showing bunt. Do you think about it a little bit?
And we've got some more discussion on maybe asking why it wasn't a fair ball, since it was picked up.
A ball and 2 strikes after the stoppage.
If I've seen Winkelmeier in practice in the cage, normally at the end of a batting practice session, he'll take a few bunts. If I'm confident in Winkelmeier's ability to bunt, and I really think the best play is to make sure that runner gets to third, go ahead and lay the bunt down.
Perhaps, though, for Winkelmeier, maybe still in the back of his mind after, getting hit by the pitch right there the last time he showed bunt. He's showing it again here.
And Raglan steps off, I believe. Yeah.
And that right there, that's a heady play there by an upperclassman. You step in and you try to see what he's going to do, and he showed bunt. We'll see if he shows it again.
Raglan did take a couple throws there, although not off the mound in that lengthy delay.
He shows bunt,
he got it.
Gets it down. Riggins tries to go to third, not in time. You like the thought process there by Riggins. You try to get that lead runner, but what sometimes it's called a sacrifice for a reason. Do you try to get that out in the inning? Instead, now set up for a bigger inning here with runners on first and third and still nobody out.
Right, I wonder if the catcher I couldn't hear the catcher calling out there on whether or not the throw should go to third, but boy, props right there to Cadenas. He really hustled to get that double earlier and got a absolutely great secondary lead and jump. And now
a fielder's choice, and I believe that may be the end of the line for Hunter Riggins. We'll see. And it looks like it will be. A new pitcher coming in. We're going to step away here from Pensacola with a new pitcher strolling in from the bullpen. 6-5 the score. Runners on first and third for Tampa here as they look to retie this game in the 7th. We'll step away.
And after that, we can go to the moves about 7. Round it. Is it me or is that alcohol kind of freaking you out? Oh!
Number 32, Kyle Hornsby.
Inside the 30. Touchdown. Michaela Spartans.
NCAA and its member schools offer nearly 500,000 college athletes a path to go pro in something other than sports. Learn more at ncaa.org.
As we come back, it's recently crowned Gulf South Conference All-Tournament reliever Jackson Rutledge, who enters this game in a big spot with runners on first and third here. Tampa trailing by 1, threatening to tie this game up yet again.
Yeah, Tampa and Delta State been trading blows over the course of this game. Bring in what should be your stopper here. Rutledge in for your ace Riggins.
Riggins exiting after 6 innings, responsible for both runners on base. He threw 100 pitches today, 62 of them for strikes, and now Jackson Rutledge, who's coming off what was a dominant Gulf South Conference tournament for the left-hander. He appeared in 3 games in both Oxford and here in Pensacola. Through 9 innings, Garrett, 11 strikeouts, gave up just 1 hit in those 9 innings.
It's about effective as you could hope for, and certainly you're hoping that he comes in here and is just as effective with runners on first and third. We'll get some signs here from the catcher. Instructions for the infielders.
Rutledge, a 2.63 ERA on the season across 24 innings, 24 strikeouts, 11 of those coming across his last 9 innings. He's a redshirt junior out of Benton, Louisiana, and he comes into this game in a difficult spot with runners on first and third and still nobody out. Cumbo at the plate. He has had 2 hits today. He's had a walk. He's been on base all 3 times. Oh, 0-1 pitch upcoming here, and Rutledge pulls the string and ahead of Cumbo here, 0-2. We saw him make a living on that breaking ball against West Florida in the Gulf South Conference tournament. Dialing it up here again and trying to get Cumbo for just the first time today. You could really use a strikeout right here if you're Delta State.
Good start by Rutledge. There's the breaking ball.
And he'll get one. A swinging strikeout for Jackson Rutledge. Now 12 strikeouts across his last 9 1/3 innings of work. The first time Cumbo has been retired all day long.
That looked sharp. That breaking ball looked like it started. And it's tough coming from that lefty. Long arm swing. Great pitch.
Drew Earhart will step in now. Earhart, a .306 hitter entering today. He has doubled and scored a run. Also drove in a run his last plate appearance with a ground ball to second. He could do it again right here with another ground ball to second. Squares around a bunt.
Oh, no.
It gets over the pitcher.
Wow.
Earhart.
Oh.
I don't know if he was bunting for a base hit, but it's a base hit and a run scored for Tampa.
Wow, that is at one point absolutely awful because you bunted the ball in the air on a squeeze. And at the same point, absolutely amazing because you got the runner in and made it on to first yourself.
One of the weirdest bunt base hits you will see in this tournament, perhaps all year.
Yeah.
They scored, and this game tied yet again.
Yeah, you're thinking first and third, breaking in hard. Even the pitcher's going to come off the mound hard when he sees him square around, and then it just falls softly over the pitcher's mound.
And you see batters do that from time to time where they try to bunt it hard past that pitcher and try to make that second baseman field it. I think he was trying to get that ball down, and I think it just went off the end of the bat. And, maybe with the velocity out of the hand of Rutledge, it had enough distance to get over Rutledge.
Yeah, sometimes as a hitter, you're really supposed to use your knees to move the bat up and down, and if you're kind of stabbing at it or dropping the bat to get to a lower pitch, it ends up coming off the top half and popping it up.
6-6 the score.
You mentioned earlier today better than lucky and good. Tampa's using it all up here in this first game.
I mean, Garrett, they've had 10 hits now in this ball game, but I can only think of that one ball that was hammered down into the gap in left field, or and the line in left field. Really, the only hard hit ball that they've had all day. Right. But 10 hits, and they just grinded out at bats, and this game tied yet again.
Yeah, they've done a really good job of finding the holes out here today, and really taking it to Delta State here so far.
Riggins, that run charged to him. 6 runs now in the outing, still responsible for Winkelmeier at second.
Rutledge out there, all arms and legs, really tall legs, and that can be kind of distracting as a hitter. Where's the ball coming from? And then all of a sudden it's kind of on top of you.
The 6 runs given up now, 5 earned runs, tying his season high that he did twice against Alabama Huntsville and AUM. He gave up 10 against Alabama Huntsville back on the 24th, but only 5 of those were earned. Not Riggins' best outing today, but Rutledge, another strikeout. And Garrett, that breaking ball is tough to hit.
Boy, he wraps that arm way around behind him and slingshots it through. You'd think a righty would stand a better chance with that sweeping breaking ball, but Lyons unable to make connection on that third strike.
Rutledge now 13 strikeouts across his last 9 2/3 innings pitched. He's had 2 or more strikeouts, and now 8 of 15 of his appearances this year. He's had 2 or more strikeouts in now 7 of his last 8 relief outings.
Looks like we've got a pinch hitter.
The new hitter in for Tampa. Number 28, Sam Freitas, pinch hitting here. He'll pinch hit for the first baseman, Sullivan. Freitas, the senior out of Lawrenceville, Georgia, getting his first plate appearance here. Just a 143 hitter. But with the lefty up, you go to the right side and try to see if you can find some success against Jackson Rutledge.
There's that breaking ball starting him off just a little low.
I would think that breaking ball, though, as we saw it break into that right-handed batter, might be a little bit easier to hit for a righty.
That's the conventional wisdom. The conventional thought is that guys like it breaking in on them a little bit more. I personally think it's personal preference more than anything else.
Freitas, a transfer from Florida Southwestern College. Batting here in the count will even up. He attended Mountain View High School in Lawrenceville, Georgia. He's an international business major at Tampa. Spent 2 seasons at Florida Southwestern. Appeared in 99 games there. Hit .318 during his sophomore season before making his way to the University of Tampa. That one hard hit into right.
Uh-oh.
Tracking back on it is Trahan, and a step onto the warning track. He'll make the catch to retire Tampa in the inning. 6-6 the score. We're headed to the 8th here in Pensacola.
Number 32, Kyle Hornsby.
Inside the 30. Touchdown. Incredible finish by Hall.
The NCAA and its member schools offer nearly 500,000 college athletes a path to go pro in something other than sports. Learn more at ncaa.org.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
A lot of defensive changes as we come back. It's Earhart who had to exit, or excuse me, Winkelmeier, the second baseman, exiting this game. And you see Earhart slide over to second base, and we've got a new third baseman in this ball game. It's Mikey Navarrete. He'll play third, and Freitas, who pinch hit, staying on at first base. A lot of changes going on there, Garrett.
Yeah, Winkelmeier hit by that pitch. He stayed in to run the bases. But maybe, let's see, that would have been his left hand, his fielding hand there. Maybe didn't feel really comfortable playing these last couple innings.
Navarrete in at third base.
Leisure sat for a long time there between innings. Came out, though, with first 2 pitches of strikes.
He completely reworked infield.
Oh, yes, first baseman as well, right? Freitas coming in as a pinch hitter. Strike 3.
Jordan Leisure, another strikeout. He had 2 last inning. Picks up his third right there. This one of the swinging variety as Sargent goes down swinging for the second time today. Well, Garrett, we expected to see strikeouts by Jordan Leisure, and so far he's done just that. But that lone blemish, that home run by Barlow, but his team picking him up very quickly in the bottom of that inning.
Right, even got 2 strikes there on Barlow. But, boy, this Tampa team...
Dees, that one hammered to left. Will it get over?
Oh!
It will not. What a play!
Oh!
A leaping catch at the wall made by Jamarcus Lyons. I don't know if it had the height to get out of here, but he climbed the fence and made the play.
That was awesome.
What a catch. Playing awfully deep right there.
Yes. That's he was only had to take a couple steps back there to get to the wall.
2 outs now in the inning. Heck of a play out there by Jamarcus Lyons.
Leisure breathing a sigh of relief after that one was hit hard.
That's one of those times as a pitcher, you turn around, you tip your cap to your outfielder. That one looked ticketed to either be a home run. I couldn't tell if it had the height, but even if it had gotten off the fence, it would have been a double.
Yeah. Good play there by Lyons.
That turns over the lineup. Chad Raglan batting for the 5th time.
Quickly down 0-2.
Leisure, that lone blemish coming to Barlow, but since then, he's retired 4 straight Statesman batters. It's a great play there in left field. Sometimes you just need a good play like that.
Yeah, you're worried about, the Statesmen have scored almost every inning this game. With the lone 1st and 6th innings. They picked up another run there in the 7th. You want to keep it a tied ball game, right? Tampa's the home team here. They just need to be the last team to score, it seems like.
That one shot down the right side. Back into the stands. Raglan out in front of that one.
Raglan has some great at-bats this afternoon. His very first at-bat, of course, he swung on the first pitch and grounded out. Double, fly out on the first pitch there in the 4th. I was overlooking that one. But in the 6th, saw 8 pitches in that at-bat. Fouling off pitches again here.
Navarrete, who entered at third base, he'll be in the leadoff hole as he replaces Winkelmeier in the lineup. A defensive replacement here in the 8th inning after Winkelmeier. It looked like he had gotten hit by the pitch. It was instead a foul ball. He stayed in the game, but head coach Joe Urso choosing to make the change, perhaps trying to shore up that defense here at the end of the game.
Yeah, and he got hit by the pitch. It just doesn't go down as a hit by the pitch, I think, is what the ruling ended up being there. So best wishes there to Winkelmeier. Maybe put some ice on it. Try to get that swelling down before a game tomorrow.
2 balls, 2 strikes. That one grounded to short. Urso, the throw across the diamond in time. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Jordan Leisure here in the 8th inning. Tampa coming back to bat for the first time, not trailing in the last couple of innings. Can they take the lead here in the 8th inning?
This is the University of Tampa. Explore your dreams. Discover your talents. Get ready to invent, innovate, and be a leader. This is the University of Tampa.
Being a champion takes more than talent, more than the perfect pass, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the spirit to always push harder, the ability to overcome any hurdle, and the fire to be the best. Welcome to Division II, where the pursuit is yours to create. And the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
Jackson Rutledge picked up a couple of strikeouts and got the final 3 outs in a big spot in that 7th inning to keep this game tied. We now head to the bottom of the 8th inning, and Tampa, they'll have the designated hitter up. And it's actually going to be a pinch hitter. Nick Durr will pinch hit for Luke Glancy. Durr on the season a .216 batting average. We've seen a lot of levers being pulled here at the end of the game as both teams, trying to manage their way to a victory here today, Garrett.
Yeah, you think the righty's got a better chance here than the lefty. Yeah, Glancy, the lefty earlier. Nick Durr coming in as the righty.
I believe it's the Southeastern Conference, the SEC, that uses, the slogan, it just means more. And in a game like this, it does mean more. You want to win this first game of the tournament. You put yourself in a lot better position if you can. So both of these two managers really managing here late. Ground ball there by Durr on the first pitch, a ground out. Now 1 out in the inning.
Yeah, you've got to be pulling the strings, and you've got the bench depth, it appears.
That brings up the shortstop, J.D. Urso, who would single and drive in a run before ultimately being on the receiving end of a 3-6-3 ground ball double play that would end the 6th inning. Urso batting for the 4th time today. He singled and grounded out twice, has an RBI. That one.
Now, oh, yes, he was on first right there. Oh!
He drops the ball!
Good eye there by the first base umpire.
And he tags him on the way by, perhaps.
I think we're going to get a little conversation here. Was the pitcher in the act of fielding that ball still? And then the runner made... if he's in the act of fielding, he should have priority.
I guess to me, my vantage point up here, just opining, it looked like he had fielded the ball, made a couple of steps, and then... it is the pitcher's base path,
okay.
But I like this right here.
Conversation.
They call each other together, and they're going to have a conversation. That's the least you can ask if you're Rodney Batts, the head coach for Delta State here.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you, Noah. I think he already had possession of it, and then lost possession of it. It's kind of a weird play. Like, great hustle there by Urso out of the box.
I believe, too, I had briefly saw it flashed on the scoreboard, but I think now waiting to determine. They're going to say that he's safe, and so I would tend to believe, Garrett, and I think I'm right here. I think there's going to be an error charge there to the pitcher. That can't be a base hit.
No, it really shouldn't be. That has to be an out, a slow tapper down the first base line. That needs to be an out. I was going to mention Durr coming off the bench had, I believe, a 378 average, so Coach Urso going to some depth there on his bench. Is this Ruley's first at bat here, the catcher? I believe it is.
It is. The sophomore out of Riverview, Florida. We saw him come on for defensive purposes. Garrett, you'll like this. He started his college baseball career right here in Pensacola, Pensacola State College. He played 2 years for the Pirates, appearing in 58 games. He finished his career 55 hits across those 58 games before transferring to the University of Tampa. Runner on first, Urso. If you're Joe Urso, his father at third base here, Garrett, do you consider perhaps sending the runner? You've seen some aggressiveness for him all day. Do you get aggressive here in the 8th inning?
Let's see, Urso 1 for 2 on stolen bases. Lefty on the mound, that's where I say maybe not, because you're not looking at getting a big enough lead or a good enough jump to steal a base here. Let's see, really hitting 250 on the year. You'd like to at least get back to the top of the lineup for the next inning. We get the 8th batter up here, Cadenas.
Although you do, you say get back to the top of the lineup, but now you have a new player into the game in Navarrete, who's hitting in that leadoff role. I don't know. There's been a lot of levers pulled here late in this game, and we'll let the head coaches be the head coaches.
Yeah.
Urso clearly, he's not getting a great read on the left-hander, though. You saw him, maybe take a step back towards the bag there on that, throw to home. And, Garrett, as you know, those left-handers, there's some different rules there on how they can throw over to first.
Right. Certainly, if you lift the foot up and it crosses back across the rubber, backwards toward the second base bag, you're committed to home. Right? That's one of the rules that the pitchers have to follow.
That one off the end of the bat. Diving in a hurry. It'll get down.
Oh, no.
It gets by him. Urso into third.
Oh.
A big error right there. And it'll put runners on second and third with just one out. It was a single by Ruley, and then an error. I couldn't tell, was it the right fielder or the center fielder that bobbled it?
Right fielder made that error.
I believe it's
trying to backhand the ball. Maybe took a funny hop. Sometimes you get just a weird hop off the turf as an outfielder, because that one maybe had some awkward spin on it coming off the bat.
Back-to-back errors now, and the Statesmen hurting themselves here late.
Yeah, you're definitely seeing, we had noticed the middle infielders back earlier in the game with a runner on third, but now 8th inning, crunch time, even the middle infielders are in here. And it looks like we've got a mound.
And it looks like that may also be a pitching change. I can't tell yet. It looks like he hasn't gone out to the mound yet.
Maybe double switch. I'm wondering if that's why he's talking to the umpire.
The infield will be in when we come back, though, and runners on second and third. Still haven't seen a signal yet.
I guess just to finish up the conversation here in that pickoff move, if that foot goes back across the rubber towards second base, you're committed to home. Otherwise, you generally have, most people say, about a 45-degree angle. If you're going to throw to first, you can't be more than 45 degrees toward home plate.
Gary, you know what that may have been? I know there's a mound visit limit in the game of college baseball, and perhaps checking on how many mound visits he had made there. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of. I don't know. The runner's coming off the field.
We've had some interesting... The game, frankly, has been pretty quick-paced. Even for how many runs, we've had 12 runs scored. It's been pretty fast-paced, but we've had a couple of weird, lengthy delays. I'm not sure.
Looks like Rutledge staying in this ball game. Those runners coming off the field. Looks like they just wanted a drink of water. It's a hot day out here today. We've been fortunate to have this fan behind us that's made it bearable.
We've got a fan. We've got this nice, large canopy over our heads. Home plate umpire to the booth here signaled 4 and pointed at Delta State, and I think he said 1 to point at Tampa. So I think he is counting the number of mound visits there.
Rutledge in, and out now in the inning.
You wonder if we see the squeeze here again.
Cadenas, the 9-hole hitter, perhaps not a bad thought right there. Swinging away, though. Grounder up the middle. Coming home with it.
Not in time.
Not in time as J.D. Urso slides home safely. I believe that'll go down as a fielder's choice, allowing Cadenas to reach.
Yeah, I would have liked to seen the shortstop there just throw it. It's tough. but with how high that ball was hit, with how far he had to range to his left, get me the second out at first base. That's so tough as a shortstop.
That run there by Urso, an unearned run after reaching on that. That was that miscue play, where Rutledge came over to field first, and, he should have been out on the play, so hurting himself right there. And now with the game in the column of the Spartans right now, 7-6 the score. Rodney Batts is going to his bullpen this time. If I had to assume, it would be TJ Childrey. It will be back as a new pitcher coming in. We'll further introduce Childrey in a few moments.
Being a champion takes more than talent, more than the perfect pass, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the spirit to always push harder, the ability to overcome any hurdle, and the fire to be the best. Welcome to Division II, where the pursuit is yours to create. And the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
As we come back, it's a new pitcher into the ballgame for Delta State. It's been their closer all year long. Not a save situation, though, as TJ Childrey enters this game. He's the third pitcher of the ballgame. It was Riggins who started it. Rutledge goes an inning and a third, and now Childrey on here in the eighth inning. He's 2-3 on the season, 4 saves, 17 and a third innings pitched. His last outing, he gave up 2 runs to Alabama Huntsville, a team that we'll see here next. And Garrett, big spot right here for Tampa to perhaps try to tack on. You've got runners on the corners, but this is where that injury looms large. Nicholas Winkelmeier had to exit this game, and now Navarrete, who is hitting on the season just under 200, hitting in a big spot. Normally you would have had your leadoff hitter, a guy who's hitting 340 on the season, batting in this scenario.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate to be missing Winkelmeier here. If you're Delta State, you're wanting to turn the double play, but Navarrete, he didn't show that bunt early, so either a true squeeze or a bunt for a base hit there.
Navarrete on the season has 1 sacrifice bunt.
I don't see anybody warming down in that pen, so like you said, Leisure's game here to finish out.
Well, and Leisure now currently in line for the victory with his team leading by 1 right here.
Yeah, you see Navarrete frustrated there. He, I guess, gotten the bunt sign a couple times and kind of stabbed at it. The pitches were low, unable to keep him fair down the first base line.
If you were Joe Urso for Tampa, you certainly would have loved to stay away from Leisure today, but with a chance to win this game, you want to win game 1, you go to him, and so far that decision has paid off. He went to him in a tie game, briefly gave up the lead, but this Tampa team has picked up a couple of runs in the last 2 innings to retake the lead.
Right, Leisure just making the one mistake there.
Navarrete striking out swinging. As we mentioned, not a save situation, but Childrey sitting just 1 save away from becoming the all-time saves leader in Delta State history. Won't be able to do that today, but picks up a strikeout right there. 7-6 the score. Bottom of the 8th inning. Tampa, they've been the little engine they could all day, Garrett. They've now strung together 4 consecutive innings with a run, and they finally have the lead for the first time since the 3rd.
Since the 2nd, they tied it up. Oh, no, you're right. I can't count sometimes.
Hey, you're the math guy, not me. Ooh, so when you said that, I was concerned.
There's too many ones out there on the board. They get all jumbled up. Right, so what I'm looking at now is Delta State, top of the 9th. We've got 2 outs here. We'd love to see Tampa put on some insurance runs, but Delta State can have 2, 3, 4 in their order coming up.
Hey. And if you get one guy on, who's due up 5th, Jake Barlow, and he's homered twice in this game.
Right.
So it's who you want coming up in the 9th inning, but you're going to be working with a deficit, and against the top pitcher in the Sunshine State Conference, a tall task.
Right. Good pitch there from, I didn't mark it in my notes here, Childrey. My apologies.
Rutledge goes an inning and a third, gives up 2 hits. Didn't walk a batter, a couple of strikeouts. Still responsible for that runner on third base, I believe. Oh. That one hammered into right field. Back on it is Trahan. He had to hustle back on it. Now comes in on it to make the final out. But Tampa, they strike again here in the 8th inning. They'll carry a slim 1-run lead into the 9th. And just who you want on the mound is Jordan Leisure back out there looking for his 3rd inning of work and the W to advance Tampa into the winner's bracket. 7-6 the score. When we come back, it'll be the top of the 9th inning, last licks for Delta State in this game. As we come back, Jordan Leisure still out there. Garrett, he's thrown 2 innings in this game. He has gone 3 innings at multiple times this year, but now out there with a chance to pick up the win. It would be his 2nd of the year if he can pick up these final 3 outs, but a tall task going through the heart of the Delta State lineup.
Yeah, he's going to have to bring some of his best stuff here, make sure he doesn't make mistakes that these Delta State players can jump all over. Of course, we've got 10 homers, now 11 homers, as White has already homered in this game as well. Hayden White with 10 home runs.
This wasn't the formula that Joe Urso would have drawn up back in his hotel room last night, but so far it's worked, and right now Tampa in the driver's seat looking to secure a first win in these regionals. And that brings up Hayden White. He leads it off, the 2-hole hitter. He's had hits in back-to-back plate appearances, including a lengthy home run to left in the 5th inning that briefly gave Delta State the lead. It's been a back-and-forth battle all day long.
Back and forth enough that it confused me in that last half inning. We'll see if Delta State is able to continue that back-and-forth trend.
There's been just 4 frames. Make it 5 in this game. The top of the 1st, the bottom of the 2nd, bottom of the 4th, top 6, and top of the 8th that runs have not been scored. Back and forth battle between the 3rd and the 4th seed here to open the tournament.
White patient up there in this at bat, working the count in his favor. Oh, big hack.
Big swing there, but Garrett, that pitch up in the zone, there's not a ton you can do with that.
Yeah, that's why maybe you don't swing, 3-1. But it looked like it might have been a better pitch than it ended up initially. So
White, that home run earlier, his 11th on the season. And he'll work a leadoff walk here. And potentially that allows you to get to Jake Barlow, who was due up 4th in this inning.
Right.
Unless you get a double play or something crazy happens. Great game by White. He's been on base 3 times after going 0 for 2 in his first 2 plate appearances. Is now homered, singled, and walked.
Each leadoff runner that's gotten on for Delta State has scored today. Granted, 2 of those were home runs. Back in the 3rd inning, double and scored. Right, and then the other 2 home runs. So this is their first leadoff guy not with a home run since the third inning to be on base.
Delta State just 1-13 on the season when trailing after the 8th inning.
Bunt attempt.
Trahan shows bunt. He swings through it. And it was a big miscue last inning by Trahan in right field that allowed that runner to get to third and then ultimately come in to score. Delta State 2 errors last inning. And so far that proved to be a big difference maker in this game.
Yeah, definitely the fielding miscues. That's a gut-wrenching way to lose a ball game with some fielding errors. So we'll see what Trahan's able to help out with here. Uh-oh.
Bunts it back to the pitcher.
Okay.
Leisure will field it and go to first. The runner advances to second. The score 7-6. And now a runner in scoring position here. And that'll bring up Blake Dendy. A sac bunt there by Trahan.
You've got that runner in scoring position, which, pass ball. We've seen a runner do that and get to third, a wild pitch back in that third inning, get that runner to third, and then eventually score. So you like where you're at here with the runner on second.
Dendy, a .382 hitter with runners in scoring position this season. 33 RBIs, but 0 for 4 today, 3 strikeouts. He struck out against Leisure in his first batter that he faced in this game. Dendy, the sophomore out of Yazoo City, Mississippi, a transfer from Mississippi Delta Community College prior to this season.
I tell you what, they have pitched Dendy consistently inside today, right? I'm thinking of Trahan, who got hit earlier, but I remember Leisure got that fastball up and in, strike 3 called the last time Dendy was at the plate.
An 0-1 pitch and upcoming after this mound visit, and Delta State, as we have seen from both of these teams all day long, making things interesting here. They get that runner on via the walk and then a good sacrifice bunt. A little hard, but ultimately did the job.
Worried me a little bit.
Now a chance to drive in the tying run if you're Dendy, or give yourself a lead with a home run. 10 home runs on the season. He was tied with Hayden White coming into this game. White has homered. Can Dendy homer?
Oh.
Leisure climbs the ladder right there. That's what you want to do as a pitcher, though. You've got an aggressive hitter at the plate. Yep. You want to try to expand the strike zone a bit.
Yep. A little bit worrisome here as Dendy finds himself down now 0-2.
0-2 pitch here. Big pitch in the ball game for Leisure. Grounded to first.
Okay.
Freitas will tag the bag. The runner to third. And now the guy who's had the best game today, Jake Barlow, comes to the plate. He's homered twice in this game already. Has not homered in a game 3 times this year, but comes in a big spot. He's homered off of Leisure already in this outing.
Yeah, Leisure looking for some revenge. And Barlow, well, if he hits a home run, he puts his team in the lead. Certainly, he's just wanting to make sure he gets that runner from third across, and we've got a little conference here.
A mound visit here to talk about the upcoming pitch for sure. What a game it has been today, Garrett. A back-and-forth battle between what appears to be 2 very evenly matched teams. Tampa, the 13th ranked team in the country. Delta State at 22 after the hot end of their season. But what a game we have witnessed here today.
Yeah, boy, it's been we've mentioned this already, back and forth, right? It's got my heart rate up here a little bit in the 9th inning, thinking about these emotions these guys must be experiencing. And the best part of it is we've got 2 games left to go today. I'm excited about more baseball left to watch today.
The loser of this game would face the winner of the game tonight between UWF and Shorter. So potentially one of these 2 teams would have to either play Shorter or UWF. Maybe you opine that UWF gets through. You're facing the number 1 team in the country. If Shorter gets through, you're facing the second, one of the top 3 pitchers in the conference. So not an easy path for the loser of this game. That's why you want to win the first game.
Yeah. You see the second baseman, shortstop there running behind the pitcher, making sure if an overthrow comes in from the catcher We're not letting that run score.
Barlow, 2 home runs already today, up to 19 on the season.
Great pitch there by Leisure. Outside corner, nothing Barlow can do.
Watches a strike. Now Delta State down to their final strike here in Game 1 of the NCAA South Region Tournament.
I think he was looking off speed there. Didn't look ready for that fastball that, frankly, looked middle.
0-2 pitch here for Leisure. 3 strikeouts in the outing already. And there's number 4. He seals it. A win for Jordan Leisure.
The emotion.
And a win for the Spartans of Tampa. They survive a back-and-forth battle here today. Garrett, some thoughts on the game we just witnessed.
Boy, we talked about Tampa coming in, worried about the rust that they might have, and the starting pitcher, Paul, got roughed up every couple innings, but managed to stick around, hang out, and keep his team in the game. Tampa now moving on into the winner's bracket.
It certainly wasn't the formula that if you were head coach Joe Urso, you drew up. You have to turn to Alex Pacerella in the middle of this game, and he will go down as one of the unsung heroes in this game. Came on in a big spot and pitched well.
Yeah, definitely seeing the bullpen there for Tampa coming in and being able to go with just 2 pitchers there to really keep this vaunted Delta State offense to just 1 run over the last 4 innings. Excellent job.
The 17th win of the season for Tampa. They advanced, and now Delta State, they will await the winner of the game this evening between the University of West Florida and Shorter University. Let's do some quick housekeeping before we sign off. Jackson Rutledge, he'll be charged with the loss today. He falls to 2-1 on the season. A tough outing for him. He gives up just 1 unearned run, but a loss nonetheless. And for Tampa, it's Jordan Leisure. He comes on, throws 3 innings in this one, picks up 4 strikeouts, and earns his 2nd victory of the season. Tampa, they improve to 17-4 on the season. Delta State, they fall to 28-19 here in Game 1 of the NCAA South Region Tournament. I want to thank you for tuning in today. For Garrett Ordway and myself, we say so long. This has been a production of the UWF Sports Network here today.